Good evening. Welcome to Istanbul for the European Cup final of 2023. Manchester City against Inter Milan. City red hot favourites, of course. A terrific atmosphere. The teams are lining up in the tunnel and we'll be crossing over to our two commentators very shortly. But the atmosphere here is superb as the European Cup, there it is. It's been brought out. Tremendous atmosphere here. Manchester City already league champions, already FA Cup winners. We saw that last week and we saw them win the Premier League as well. Now the Holy Grail. This is when Sheikh Mansour took over some 14 years ago. This was the trophy that he set out to get. Now Manchester City red hot favourites, just 90 minutes away, possibly, from winning Old Big Ears for the first time and emulating Manchester United's achievement in 1999. It's a terrific atmosphere in the Aztec Stadium here in Istanbul, and an atmosphere really to beat none other. There's a pianist now, Adam Gorey, who's playing the UEFA Champions League theme as I talk to you. But I can tell you that Manchester City looking to win their second European trophy. The last time they won a European trophy, you have to go back 53 years to 1970, when the City team of Colin Bell, Francis Lee, Joe Corrigan and Tony Buck lifted the European Cup Winners' Cup. Mind you, there wasn't too many people who know. Unfortunately, it's all forgotten about because it was the same night when Chelsea and Leeds played each other in that FA Cup final replay, which got 26 million viewers that particular evening back in 1970. The teams are being led out onto the field. Erling Haaland, 52 goals this season. Will it be his night? Will it be Uruguay Gundogan's night? Or will it be Inter Milan? Now a lot of the English press have been saying it's Manchester City name on the trophy, but to discount Inter Milan, who have a terrific pedigree themselves and beat AC Milan tremendously well in their semi-final, will be a very, very dangerous thing indeed. So the teams are all lined up here, and let me hand over to your match commentators. Of course, we'll have Mike as well doing the summer punditry with me at half-time as well. But first of all, let's hand over to our match commentary team. So Mike Arneman as well, and big match commentator, and I'm pleased to tell you, it's a great honour for me to hand over to him here. He's making his 200th TCL appearance as a broadcaster, as a presenter, commentator, and a pundit. Our big match commentator for tonight. A very good evening to Russ Burden. All yours.
Thanks, JB. Good evening, everyone. It's the biggest game of the European football calendar, the Champions League final. It's Manchester City against Inter Milan, which is taking place at the Atatürk Olympic Stadium in Istanbul. And alongside me for the game is my good friend and colleague, Mike Orneman, and we'll be close to him in a moment as we just run you through the team news for today's game. In goal for Manchester City is Ederson. Is a back three of Akanji, Ruben Dias and Nathan Ake across the back. Is John Stones and Rodri in the midfield holding role. Is a midfield four of Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan, the captain, and Jack Grealish. And leading the line is Erling Haaland. As for Inter Milan, then they will line up and we'll get you their team in just a moment. First of all, let's tell you who the match official is, and the referee is Szymon Marinczek from Poland, and the VAR today is Thomas Kowalski from Poland as well. Run you through the rest of the officials shortly and the two benches shortly as well, and give the thoughts of Mike Orneman as we approach 10 o'clock local time in Istanbul. There to kick off 8 p.m. UK time for this big game today. It's the first European meeting between the two sides, between Man City and Inter. Let's run you through the Inter side. Is Onana in goal. There's a back three of Darmian, Acerbi and Bastoni across the back. Is Dumfries, Barella, Brozovic, Çalhanoğlu and Dimarco in midfield, with Lautaro Martinez and former Man City man Edin Dzeko in the attack for Simon Inzaghi's side. Run you through the two benches then. Is Stefan Ortega, Scott Pawson, Kyle Walker, Calvin Phillips, Aymeric Laporte, Julian Alvarez, Sergio Gomez, Riyad Mahrez, Maximiliano Perón, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, Rico Lewis from Manchester City, For Inter Milan is Andanovic, Rodas, Gagliardini, Rai, Wilson, Rera, Villanova, Alassini, Enric Mkhitaryan, the former Arsenal and Manchester United man, Dejan Bassino, Milan Skriniar, and Romelu Lukaku, the former Chelsea man. It'll be Man City in their famous blue, in their light blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks, and Inter in their famous blue and black striped shirts, black shorts, black socks will get us off and underway. All the way back to the goalkeeper, Nana, who got an early touch. They will go across to get Mike's thoughts and bring Mike in for the very first time in just a moment or so as the ball is played over on our far side. Alfred early throwing to Manchester City, which will be taken by John Stones, I believe it is. Yes, John Stones playing in that midfield role in front of the back three tonight for the Citizens. And City hoping to get a treble here tonight, having won the Premier League and the FA Cup. They'll be hoping to emulate Manchester United from back in 1998-99 season. As here comes Inter down this right-hand side, looking for the former Man City man Edin Dzeko, and he goes behind for a goal kick. There's Pep Guardiola, the Man City manager. And Mike, first involvement for you this evening. Good to have you alongside me, my friend. And man, let's just look at these two sides. Where's the key battles going to be for you, my friend?
Yeah, good evening, Russ. Good evening, everyone. For me, you have to look at the front lines, really. I think, Edin Dzeko is going to want to prove a point against his former team. He spent 5 years at Manchester City, of course, between 2011 and 2016, and he's going to want to prove a point there to his former club. And, of course, Erling Haaland, as, JB mentioned earlier on in the programme, has had such a phenomenal season. And it's the one trophy that seems to get away from him as well at the moment. So, yeah, it's kind of, there's other battles as well. But for me, it's got to be the two sort of front lines. Of course, Martinez is another top draw player as well, who has been linked with a move to the Premier League on a number of occasions. So he's going to want to sort of prove a point as well. But I think. Edin Dzeko is going to want to prove a point to his former club. And as I said just a minute ago with Erling Haaland, the guy's just been in sensational form this season. And, you wouldn't bet against him continuing that tonight.
Yes, and it's going to be a good game, this one, I think. Mike, feel both teams looking to try and feel their way into the game, see how the opposition will fare against each other. Ilkay Gundogan picks up for Manchester City and to Kevin De Bruyne, who plays a wonderful ball through. It's Erling Haaland who just fires over. And the big Norwegian goes close early on inside 2.5 minutes, and Manchester City starting on the front foot, and the treble chasers almost getting in the front there, Mike Orneman.
Yeah, it's a good little bit of play for Manchester City. Gundogan's involved, of course, the man who was so phenomenal for them for large portions last week in the FA Cup final against Manchester United. Got the 2 goals there, and then Kevin De Bruyne involved in it as well, and then Erling Haaland just doesn't sort of he's not really able to direct that one on target. But early stages for Manchester City, it's good to get Erling Haaland involved, and I'm sure that'll be the first of many attempts he'll have throughout this game.
Yes, it's Denzel Dumfries to clear the ball downfield for Inter Milan. There's a man who's gone down off the ball there for Inter, under a challenge of an eye boot. There is the number 23, Nicola Barelli, who's gone down under an eye boot challenge from Rodri, I believe it was. And he's now getting back up to his feet, having been checked by the referee. I'm just looking at it again. It was from Gundogan, actually, and there was an eye boot as he backed into him, in the back of the head as well. And Barella went down. Not really much in that for me as the game.
No, it's a soft one, but I think when you're Inter Milan, you're going to want to take the sting out of this Manchester City start, really. I think Manchester City, you can see really wanting to sort of start this one on the front foot, and they're in control of the possession and everything at the moment as well. So, yeah, I think Inter Milan are just trying to get a bit of a foothold on the game and trying to put a few tackles in. I think there's just one just now as well, just a second ago, and it seems like they're chasing shadows a little bit already, and they're just trying to win the ball back at all costs.
Yes, it is Nathan Ake for Manchester City will look to try and get the ball forward from the left-hand side. Played as a left of a back three tonight, with a Kanji preferred to Kyle Walker on the right. As here comes Manchester City again with Rodri. Rodri gets the ball into Jack Grealish, into Ilkay Gundogan. Ilkay Gundogan loves to have a shot from there, but he plays it to Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne now gets the ball out wide. It was John Stones, in fact, and then out wide with Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva attacks on the right-hand side. So again, Bernardo Silva into the penalty area. So again, Bernardo Silva just wide. A killing effort from the Portuguese man after cutting it from the right-hand side, and just not far wide there, Mike Orneman.
Yeah, and that's what Man City can do to teams. You know, as I said, they're cutting Inter Milan open at will, and just Inter Milan sort of couldn't seem to get near to Bernardo Silva there, and he's not far away at all. Actually, it's only just narrowly wide of the post there. And Nana beaten as well. That, you know, if that one is a little bit further across the goal, further inside the post area, I should say, then keeper's beaten, it ends up. And I think he's sort of got no chance on that one. If that was on target, it nestled in the corner for me.
Yes, and this is the first Champions League final in Istanbul since Liverpool's win back in 2005 against AC Milan, and what a game. And that was on that occasion. Let's hope for something similar or even better than that with Man City coming out on top in this game, as here comes Kevin De Bruyne, who will look to try and get the ball forward for the citizens. Out wide to Jack Grealish, who played in his first Champions League final. Is Jack Grealish since his move from Aston Villa. Here's Grealish now. Again, look, just losing out. Here comes Brozovic, the captain, and I noticed an interesting stat earlier, Mike, which I'm not sure if you noticed this as well as Onana just plays around with inside his own penalty area, putting under pressure from Kevin De Bruyne there. Is the stat I've noticed, Mike, which I'm about to mention in a moment, as Grealish just knocks the ball back to Diaz, is that since 2013 in the winning side in the Champions League final, there's always been a Croatian on the winning team. Luka Modric last year for Real Madrid. There's only one Croatian in this matchup tonight, which is on Inter Milan side in Marcelo Brozovic. Could he continue that trend, or will the trend be broken tonight, Mike? What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's a great start. Obviously, for me, Manchester City are favourites. You know, they were very, very good in the Premier League. Obviously, being an Arsenal fan myself, I'm still disappointed that we weren't able to hold on, considering at one stage we were, I think, about 93% likely to go on and win the title. But that just shows the quality of this Manchester City side and the strength in depth that they've got in terms of, you know, players that can come off the bench and stuff as well. But they're certainly favourites, Manchester City, for me. And that stat, it's an interesting stat, but it's a stat that I do think will be broken by Gundogan and Haaland and co tonight.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see if that is the case, and whether Mike Orneman will be spot on with his prediction there, as we see Manchester City against Inter Milan. It remains City 0, Inter 0, 8 minutes gone here in the Champions League final. Here on the commentary hub, and as JB said at the top of the show, my 200th game here on the commentary hub in a broadcasting role, so big thank you to all those that have supported me all along the way and been a big part in what we are hoping to do. As here comes the brilliant Ederson for Man City, who's been in phenomenal form for the citizens this season. Now Ethan Ake will try and get the ball forward. He's out wide to Kevin De Bruyne, who now drops the ball into Ruben Dias, and Dias will look to get the ball forward for Man City. Goes across to the right hand side, and a Kanji over on that far side. Here is now Bernardo Silva being forced back. Is Bernardo Silva, and he loses out, and it's a free kick for a foul on Çalhanoğlu there for, it was DeMarco who was fouled there by Bernardo Silva. It looked like Çalhanoğlu were first, but it was DeMarco, and then a definite free kick there, Mike. What do you reckon?
Yeah, for me, it's a definite foul. I think the Milan player there gets in ahead of, I think it was Bernardo Silva, wasn't it? And yeah, it kind of gives them a bit of a chance to breathe really now, because Manchester City have been very dominant in the first 8 or 9 minutes of this game, and have had the main couple of chances as well. They've had that one from Haaland, which is obviously over the bar. and the one that went wide from Silva as well. So they've had a few chances in this opening stages, and it's a chance for Inter Milan to kind of just get a bit of possession now and kind of get a bit of a feel into the game.
Yeah, Çalhanoğlu is trying to get the ball forward, out wide it goes though to DiMarco, puts the ball in towards a penalty. First real chance for Man City to defend there as Gülkay Gundogan will fetch this ball away from Manchester City, out wide towards Bernardo Silva. He goes out of play for a City throw-in, but Ruben Dias there was the first time Man City had to defend in this opening 10 minutes, and good defending it was too from the Portuguese man, as here comes Nathan Ake now. We'll get Mike's thoughts on that first real defensive position in play that City have had to do in defending situation in this game so far. Coming up towards 10.5 minutes, it's still Man City 0, Inter Milan 0. Going to throw out a few trivias throughout the evening for our listeners to try and get involved in. JB and Mike, you can also have your guesses as well, but I'll reveal the answers towards half time. I'll do my first one in a moment, as Edison has just caused a mistake and put it out of play for Inter. Throwing on this near side as we look is Man City 0, Inter Milan 0, and it's Denzel Dumfries who will come and take this throw in. The Dutchman, who's been ever impressive every time I've seen him play. I'm wondering if he continues that trend tonight, as he has Dumfries with the long throw towards Dzeko inside the penalty area. City managed to get the ball clear, and he goes high, wide, but not so handsome. The ball was eventually kept in play there by Lautaro Martinez, was pushed those under pressure and goes down, but he goes behind for a goal kick to Manchester City. But good.
It's a bit of a strange one. Just wanted to say there regarding Ederson as well. I think that, Ederson, first of all, he's kicked the ball out of play for a throw on there, and it's very much like, what happens when you've got a player down injured, that and you're kind of just kicking the ball out of play so that somebody can come on and get treatment. That's how that looked. And then just from that other incident just a minute ago against Martinez as well, he wasn't very composed there. He wasn't very sort of comfortable in the way that he went for that ball either. So a couple of sloppy moments there from the Manchester City keeper.
Yes, and the first real trivia one I'm going to ask our listeners, and also Mike and JB, I'll reveal the answer in around on 30 minutes, so in around just over 10 minutes time, is the first season of the Champions League or the European Cup was in 1955-56 season. Who was the winners of that season? Who was the first winners of the European Cup or Champions League, whichever you want to call it? Let us know your answer. You can tweet us if you want to do it that way. Tweet a commentary live one, and I'll check in a moment or in about 10 minutes or so before I'll give the answer out. If you've had any tweets in, or you can get involved in the live comments as well. Who was the first winners of the European Cup? Champions League was back in 1955-56 season. And no Googling, please. Plenty more of these coming up throughout the programme tonight, as here comes Inter Milan over on that far side. Is DiMarco, who gets a cross in towards the back post. Ball put back in there by Inter Milan, and he's gone out of play from Acerbi there. And that's a good bit of play from Inter Milan again, causing a few problems for Man City at the back there, Mike.
Yeah, but Manchester City are standing up to it very well. Nathan Ake there got a good strong header on it and is able to direct it behind for a corner. So good defending there from Nathan Ake, and I do think that's probably part of the reason why he's been put in instead of Kyle Walker, who's obviously on the bench today, rather than starting the game as he has done in other games sort of previous.
Yes, and he's going to be Çalhanoğlu to take this corner. Then on this near side as we look, the Inter Milan right hand side, the Man City left. DiMarco's across there as well. Çalhanoğlu with his hand up in the air, but DiMarco drops it back towards Morello, pulled the ball in towards the penalty area. City stood firm and managed to clear it away by the head of Nathan Ake in there. Good defensive play from the Man City defender brought in tonight for Kyle Walker. And Mike, the question I asked, have you got an answer to that one? Right, the trivia first question I ask, so no JB's been answering.
I know. I'd have to be guessing, to be honest. The one name that comes to my mind is sort of
break off a minute, Mike, as it comes into coming forward as Gianolo was just brought down on the Martinez was just brought down on the edge of the penalty areas. Man City will now try and we'll get back to you, Mike, in a moment on that trivia question with his answer in a moment. His guess in a moment. Remember, the guess will come up. Answer will come out at half past 30-minute mark on this game, as we've played 15 minutes, so around about 15 minutes time is Man City into Milan 0. And Mike, well, the ball's just going out of play. We'll just see that instant together as Martinez and on the edge of the box under the challenge of Ruben Dias. What was your answer going to be?
Yeah, so I was going to go probably a little bit different to JB and say Barcelona, but Madrid's a good option as well. That's a good shout. I was going to say Barcelona. That would have been my guess.
We'll find out who's right out of you two. If any of you got it right or not, we'll find out in a moment. Also, if that's the case. But if anyone else has got their guess, there's no. You can tweet us if you want to. Commentary Live 1 or Game in the live chats with your guesses there to our trivia question. Who won the first European Cup or Champions League, whichever you want to call it, just can't keep the ball in play on this near side, is out of play for a throw-in.
I was just going to say, it certainly wasn't Arsenal, Burnley or Leeds anyway.
Yes, none of our three teams that we support, guys. I'm a Leeds fan, Mike is an Arsenal fan, JB is the resident Burnley fan here this evening, as Ake just plays the ball forward, is cleared away, as City will try and get the ball back, as Inter try and come forward down this near side. Again, as they're trying to keep the ball in play, Brozovic can't keep the ball in play, he's out for a throw-in to Manchester City. And it'll be interesting to try and get the answer, if anyone else has got an answer, or whether one of those are presenter or pundit has got the correct answer as we look up. 17 minutes gone in this game so far then, Mike. City have started well into to come back into it in the last 5 or so minutes, in my opinion. What have you made to this game?
Yeah, it's been very competitive so far. I think Manchester City, as I said, have started very, very brightly, but Inter are starting to get a little bit more into the game, as you said. So, it's still anyone's at the moment. Still, obviously, goalless as well. So, just have to wait and see how the game pans out and who gets the first goal. But I do think Inter need to get the first goal if they want to go on and get the win, because Manchester City do have a little bit more quality in terms of the players that are on the pitch, and if you look at where they finished in the league as well, I think Inter finished third in the Serie A. I think they were 18 points behind Napoli, who won the league. So Manchester City have already got a couple of trophies behind them, but you can see that Inter here are really wanting to get a trophy to their name, because obviously they really did miss out on that Serie A title and missed out in some some fashion really as well, losing by as many points as they did.
Yes, he's out of play for a throw-in then to Manchester City down near the corner flag on the City left, with De Bruyne takes it to Gundogan, back to De Bruyne, and De Bruyne tries to get the ball in play. It's put behind for a corner to Manchester City, and Man City now starting to crank up the pressure again as Darmian put the block in there, this time Matteo Darmian. He's gone out for a throw-in, in fact, like going out for corners. Grealish keeps the ball in play for Manchester City, trying to keep the ball alive, but Inter win the back momentarily, but then Ake gives the ball away this time, and now Inter will try and break as is Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu gets the ball out wide to Dzeko. Well, good interception there from Bernardo Silva to get the ball back to his goalkeeper Ederson, who then finds Ake, who then brings it into the midfield, and here comes Rodri for Manchester City across towards Bernardo Silva, but that's a poor pass from Rodri, which is left Di Marco on the charge for Inter. Into Brozovic, the Croatian. Wonderful bit of play. Di Marco! And Brozovic was in the end, as after Lautaro Martinez got the ball back to him, where he just goes eye wide, but not so handsome, Mike Orneman.
Yeah, and it was good play as well, the way that they intercepted the ball there into Milan, and then had a very good break on. And then, Brozovic was involved, the Croatian who you mentioned earlier. And then that was just a very wayward effort. But, yeah, it's a very good bit of play from Inter Milan to intercept the ball originally and then to get the ball moving quite fast, actually, quite a little bit of pace as well. And then Brozovic there, I think he's just got Martinez in his way a little bit there as well. So maybe a little bit of communication between teammates when they're going to miss there.
Yes, as here comes Manchester City in possession with Nathan Ake this time, just inside the Inter Milan half, and he drops it infield to Rodri. Back to Ake, and now here's De Bruyne. Good play from Kevin De Bruyne, back to Nathan Ake. Now Ake will try and get the ball forward. De Bruyne again. Wonderful ball from De Bruyne, trying to pick out Jack Grealish, but he goes through to Onana, who claims it well. Is Man City 0, Inter Milan 0. If you're just joining us here on the commentary hub. If you missed the trivia earlier, which we're not giving out the answer to yet, and you're just tuning into us and want to have a guess of the answer, the trivia question again is, who was the first winners of the European Cup or Champions League? The season was 55-56. No Googling, get your answers in, and we'll get the correct answer in around about 9 minutes time. As here comes Manchester City with Diaz to find Ake. Ake to Rodri now. And Rodri, the Spaniard, will try and get the ball forward, but goes to Ake instead. And down to the line to Jack Grealish. And Grealish will look to try and get the move forward. We have to go back to Ake at this moment in time. Ake gets the ball across there to Diaz. And Diaz across now to Akanji, now Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva will try and tie down the right hand side, but he comes in field. Gundogan, good bit of play between Rodri and Gundogan. And Gundogan's there again. Still going Gundogan. Rodri gets the ball out wide. Goes for a free kick from Inter, no given. The ball comes in, goes behind everybody, breaks into the path of Grealish. Across there towards the edge of the penalty area, Ake. Ake back towards Grealish. Builds round ball on the edge of the box. No given, as Inter still have a man down. Inter trying to come away with it. Out of play for a throw to Inter Milan as DeMarco remains down. And Inter appealing that should have been a free kick. DeMarco now start back up here and having a word with the referee from Poland. And it'd be interesting to see what the referee gives here. If she didn't blow up, and we'll just look at this again. DeMarco goes down. Didn't see nothing wrong in that there for me, Mike. Well, then again, just seeing this angle there, he did stamp on his foot, but to be fair to the man, there was no way he could get out of. There was nowhere else for him to put his foot. Well, then the handball appeal there against Brozovic, nowhere near was that going to be given.
No, I think I'm with you on that as well. I don't think that's a handball for the second one. And if you look at the first one, it would have been a soft foul to be given, really. So, yeah, I think I'm in agreement on both. I don't think the referee's done anything wrong there. I think he's got both decisions right.
Yes, as here comes Inter Milan again. Çalhanoğlu just drops the ball back here. As now here comes Inter Milan with Darmian. Good bit of play. He's out wide to Dumfries now on this right hand side. Drops it back to Darmian, and Darmian will have to go all the way back to Onana in goal tonight.
He's also been linked with a Premier League move as well. I think he's been linked with a move to Chelsea, if I believe correctly, hasn't he, as well?
He has, Mike, yes, and I will try, and Mike, as I was about to say, I will try not to fetch out my Rihanna joke I normally do every time I see Onana play. But
what the Onana? What's his name? Yeah.
You've had to get that one in today, Mike. I'll let you off with that one. As here's Jack Grealish now. Here's Ake, drops the ball back into the path of Ederson. Ederson will clear the ball forward as Man City will try and come forward here now. Here is John Stones to find Ilkay Gundogan. But let's run past him to Jack Grealish. Grealish goes down under the challenge there of Morella, who's not happy with the referee there, and he gives a free kick away. Now here comes Kevin De Bruyne, who will try and get the ball forward for Manchester City to Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan into Ake. Ake across now into the path of Ruben Dias. Dias gets the ball up to Stones, now wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva drops the ball back there into the path of Akanji. Now Ake from Dias's pass, and now here comes Ilkay Gundogan into wonderful touch from Haaland. Breaks it for De Bruyne, who just falls over there. De Bruyne and couldn't take it in his stride, but there's Gundogan to head the ball away. Breaks it here now for Inter to try and get the ball on the front foot there as Bastoni tried to get the ball forward via Barelli, and then Barelli gets the ball into us a penalty area. He's run away across, and he'll go out of play in the end here as Pep Guardiola tells his City side to relax here because they're playing too many possessions and silly balls there. Another one just going astray there from Ederson and was almost punished by Barella. We didn't get a good connection onto it, and Michael, 26 minutes almost gone here. We'll come to that point in a moment. His ball out of play for 20 Man City with De Bruyne looking to take it and get City on the move. And again, here's Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva will try and get the ball forward for Manchester City as Rodri. And here is Jack Grealish. And here is Ruben Dias for Manchester City into Nathan Ake. And Michael, I think when Pep Guardiola was saying there to his City players to calm down and relax, I think he has a point. They're trying to rush this thing, and they've got plenty of time left before we get into extra time and potentially penalty in the end of the game. As he is, inside the penalty, Haaland shoots the goal. Set by Onana, cleared away. Kept in play as well. Here's Jack Grealish down on this left hand side. Grealish edge of the penalty area is Rodri. Rodri's going one way, then the other. Back to Grealish. Grealish is out of the penalty area now. Chips the ball up Grealish, heads away. It's by Achebe. And he's back out wide to the Spanish side, and Bernardo Silva, the far right of City attack. Drops it to De Bruyne. De Bruyne chips it up towards the back post. And Haaland again, Mike, with another chance. Well, this time Onana keeps Inter Milan in it.
Yeah, and that's the best chance of the game as well for any side there. Erling Haaland does very well to muscle off the defender there. And it's a good save in the end, really, from Onana. It's a very strange kind of save. It's not orthodox in any kind of means, but he managed to keep the ball out of the net there. And yeah, Erling Haaland's causing a few problems there. But going back to what you said about Ederson as well, he's made 3 mistakes already in this game, and it's something that these Inter Milan players can take a bit of confidence from, knowing that Ederson, doesn't seem to be his sort of sharp self tonight, or not at this present moment anyway.
Yes, as Bernardo Silva can't get the ball forward for Man City. It's now Morella tries to get forward, but wonderful interception there from Ruben Dias, and Dias is fetching this ball forward. Dias is out wide to De Bruyne. De Bruyne in towards the penalty edge of the box. De Bruyne goes for goal, and it's saved again from Onana. And Inter Milan are being put on the back foot here now. And that's 2 good chances from Manchester City in the last few minutes. Took a deflection of Çalhanoğlu on the way through there from De Bruyne's shot. But that's another effort which Man City have had to force into making the save. Here's Gundogan again now. Can City have another one? Grealish pushed the ball in into the arms of Onana. Park watch there from Jack Grealish is now Inter, who try and break themselves down this right hand side. It's Darmian looks to get forward. Here's Barella now. Barella looks to get forward into Dzeko, holds off his man, which is Ake, who pushes him over there. De Bruyne is down as well for Manchester City. Not good from a citizen's point of view. But Man City again, Mike, causing a few problems. And Onana, twice in about 2 or 3 minutes, has had to make 2 really good saves to keep Inter in this game.
Yeah, he has, and he's done them well as well. As I said, they're not really orthodox saves, but they're still decent enough saves to keep Manchester City at bay. And obviously Erling Haaland is still yet to add to the phenomenal goal tally that he's got throughout this season. But from a goalkeeping point of view, I think Onana's having the best sort of game, from the two goalkeepers so far. He's doing everything that he needs to do. He's standing up to everything that's thrown at him. And as I mentioned regarding Ederson's having a couple of moments where he's looked a bit shaky already. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But this looks a bit of a worry for Kevin De Bruyne right now, though, and for Manchester City on the back of this injury here. And I think Phil Foden's warming up, and we'll have to wait and see whether he's needed or not. But it looks a bit of a worry for De Bruyne and for Man City there.
It does, as De Bruyne now, received a bit of treatment, has come off, and gives a bit of chance for Pep Guardiola to give a few instructions out to his City team and try and calm them down a bit more. And we'll now reveal the answer to that trivia question. And I did ask you a few moments ago, in the first season of the European Cup Champions League was 1955-56 season. I wanted the winners of that competition, of that first competition. I'll just have a quick check right now while I've got a moment where there's not much happening in the game. I seem to have it at the back. See if you have any guesses over on Twitter before I try and reveal the answer. No answers getting in there. Well, I can tell you that either Mike or JB has got the correct answer. And I can tell you, and I would like to say congratulations to our presenter, JB. It was Real Madrid who were the first winners of the European Cup back in 55-56 it is. De Bruyne trying to pick out Jack Grealish, who was just in an offside position, and the ball runs out of play for a goal kick after Inter Milan gave the ball away there, and De Bruyne saw Grealish was just coming out from an offside position, couldn't react, otherwise the flag would have gone up. So he let the ball run, out of play for a goal kick, which has been taken, and Brozovic gives the ball away to Erling Haaland, who intercepts well, and the advantage here for City. If they can break on it, was not much of an advantage. The referee's not brought it bad, though. Now, Inter trying to come forward down that far side, out of play for a throw. It looks as though Phil Foden maybe coming on in a moment for Manchester City. It could be a big loss here for Kevin De Bruyne if he has to go off here. We'll just see the challenge there on Erling Haaland from Çalhanoğlu.
It's a late challenge as well. I know the referee's played advantage, but that looks very late and dangerous actually on the Manchester City striker there. And I know obviously Inter Milan are trying not to. Inter Milan are basically trying to stop him from really getting himself going in this game, and that was a challenge that will obviously give him a few injury worries and a few things that might affect the way he's playing in this game, Erling Haaland. But it was a late challenge there. I'm surprised it wasn't pulled back the second time of asking.
Yes, I was a bit surprised as well, Mike, because here's Nathan Ake for Manchester City, and the ball is now in the centre circle with Ruben Dias, who just slips but manages to keep possession to find a Kanji, who has to go all the way back to Ederson in the City goal. Some more quiz questions coming up your way in just a moment. I'll set one just before we go back to JB for half time, and then give you the answer just as I return from the half time break. So that next quiz question will be coming up in around about 10 or so minutes time from now, as is Ilkay Gundogan, who keeps the ball for Manchester City. Is John Stones now, and Stones will play the ball into Kanji to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva on that far side, that's going forward. He's got Stones down the right hand channel, and he finds him. Back to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva goes to Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne now to Stones. Stones back, it goes to Rodri. Now here comes City again. Here's Ilkay Gundogan. Wonderful turn from Gundogan. Out wide to Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne chips the ball in towards the back post. Over there's of everybody. Haaland's in there. but the whistle has gone. The ball has gone behind for a goal kick, and it's still 0-0 as we come towards the final 10 minutes of this first half. And Mike, with the assessment of the opening 35 minutes of this match, what's your thoughts as Phil Foden is about to come on for Kevin De Bruyne?
Yeah, I was just looking actually at the way that Inter Milan have set up in this game, and they're set up very defensive. You can see that they've got, I think it's a back four, and then they've got another four in front of that as well. And I think there's one or two players that seem to be sort of holding or dropping back into the actual back line when they need to, when Manchester City are on the attack. And I think it's a dangerous ploy really from Inter Milan, knowing the quality that Manchester City have got. They're basically saying, "Come and break us down if you're good enough, or if you're able to." And with this Manchester City side, I don't think they'll be fazed by that. I think there's enough quality, even without Kevin De Bruyne, who's obviously making way now, to be able to break down this Inter Milan side. So it's a bit risky, and obviously if they do go behind, then they're going to have to really sort of go all out and change their game plan. And you see that Martinez and Dzeko haven't really had too much in terms of chances or anything like that either. So so far so good for Inter Milan that they're able to keep this Manchester City side at bay at the moment, but it's a risky one, knowing the quality that Manchester City have got.
Yes, as Man City concede a throw over on that far side with Çalhanoğlu trying to take a quick clip back to Bastoni, who just keeps the ball moving along here for this game. Is Man City 0, Inter Milan 0 here. On the commentary, we're also live on the commentary of 2JB Sports Storm FM. We're also live on our Twitch channel as well this evening. We're spending your man in the commentary seat. Alongside me is my good friend and pal, Mike Orneman, one of myself and Mike, the creators of this channel, alongside our brilliant friend Barry Swin, who gave us the help and guidance in creating it. But me and Mike did it all ourselves, created it, and built up a good team of commentators that we've got on the channel. And we're hoping to add a few more ahead of next season to give a few familiar voices that you've heard this season a rest. As it is a free kick now to Inter Milan. Foul on Dumfries there. The ball is played across to the far side, and Marco, who tries to get the ball forward for Inter, plays 1-2 with Çalhanoğlu, and now the ball over the top looking for Denzel Dumfries on this near side. Dumfries on the edge of the penalty area. It will look to try and shoot it. Will it? Dumfries? No. He's got Barella outside of him and finds Nicola Barella. Drops it back to Darmian and back to Brozovic, and he's actually got all the way back there to Cherby. And now, wonderful play this from Inter Milan as the ball is played across here now to the far side, and Barella cuts in field. Tries to get the ball in. He's blocked by Nathan Ake, who's stood and watched him firmly there. Good play this from Manchester City as they try and cause a few problems against Inter Milan today. Now here comes the City side as Brozovic gets the ball and plays it to this near side. Will he? No, he has to go all the way back to Onana in the goal. Onana in the goal.
Dreadful,
Brozovic gets it back.
Dreadful.
That's to get that one in, Mike.
What I was going to say, just for my 2 pennies worth there as well, Inter Milan are actually knocking the ball around very, very well at the moment, and they're using the width of the pitch as well, and using the whole pitch there, which is going to tire out this Manchester City side. So that's quite a smart move actually, to knock the ball around and kind of make it, make the pitch very, very wide here. So yeah, I'm just looking here at some of these position sort of player position, for Inter Milan, and as I said, that the ball's whacked out of play. So there you go. That's a commentator's curse. That's just that's just standard. But I thought they were knocking the ball around well for a moment there, Inter, and just using the width for the pitch and trying to tire out this Manchester City side and actually keep the ball a bit as well, because the amount of chances and possession that Manchester City have had, and that's kind of expected that Manchester City will have a lot of possession. But yeah, I think Inter we're playing some decent short passes there for a minute, and then the commentator's curse struck.
Yes, that's normally what happens here on the commentary. Might say whoever's alongside me or myself or JB or whoever's on the mic also says something good about something, and then something bad happens, like that bit of play there from Inter. But here's Phil Foden now for Manchester City. Goes down, no free kick given, as Giannola will try and fetch the ball away now for Inter Milan. Giannola just still going with possession, but then he's whacked forward there by Ruben Dias, who tries to get the ball forward. He's out of play now for a throw
I didn't even say what I was going to say regarding Phil Foden just a moment ago. I thought it, and then he still lost the ball. So, you know, I don't even have to say it. Even if I'm thinking it happens, I was going to say that it's a big game for Phil Foden now coming on in place of Kevin De Bruyne. You know, he's going to want to have a big impact on this game. And then, as I thought that, he goes down looking for a free kick there. I think he goes down and fouls his man there, sorry, as I was thinking that. So, don't even have to say it. As long as it's in my mind, then something's going to happen.
Obvious, of course, Mike. It's you, mate. What else can we expect? But here comes Inter now as they will try and get the ball forward. Down the far side, and is played forward there. Wonderful bit of play this from Inter Milan here now, and Man City with a Kanja just gets it away to John Stones, and Stones will try and fetch the ball forward, and Man City will look to try and get hold of the possession a bit more now as Inter started to dictate the play. But here's Phil Foden looking to be the architect of Man City's attacks now in place of Kevin De Bruyne. Here's Jack Grealish now. Here's Foden again. On to Rodri. Rodri will look up and find Ake as he looks to try and get a striking on goal there. Here's Ilkay Gundogan. Now Rodri again. Spreads the ball out wide to Bernardo Silva. City will try and come forward here. You'll just see what Bernardo Silva does with the ball here. He drops the ball back to a Kanji. If City can get a striking on goal here before half time and test this keeper a bit more, who knows what could happen? He could end up spilling it, and Holland could end up running onto the ball here. But they've not really tested Onana much in the past 5 or so minutes.
I was just going to say, I'm actually looking at a couple of stats as well. When Manchester City have scored the most goals in the Champions League this season, they're at 31 currently, ahead of Benfica, who are on 26. So there's 5 goals difference there already. You know, Manchester City sort of outright in terms of the amount of goals that they've scored in this Champions League. They're actually top on passing accuracy as well by I think it's 90.5% in terms of passing accuracy, and Inter Milan are top in terms of tackles. So, you know, maybe keep an eye on those sort of stats throughout the rest of the game, the passing accuracy and the tackles as well, because Inter Milan are very much out there in top in terms of tackles. It's AC Milan just behind them, and then from passing accuracy, it's Manchester City. So a couple of side stats and side things to watch out for in this game.
Yes, as you were saying, that man Jack Grealish wins Man City a free kick there, fouled by Denzel Dumfries after having his shirt pulled and having him pulled down to the ground there. And Grealish is saying, now is that not a yellow card there for the Inter Milan right wing back this evening? And I'm got to say I do agree with him as Onana just lines up his wall there. Is Kevin De Bruyne just watching on? Looks like a bit red face, probably from the heat out there tonight. As a Foden with the free kick towards the back post. Rodri fetches it down there. Tries to get the ball back in, but he goes out of play off of Rodri, trying to know the ball in, but then he's back with his own legs and went out for a goal kick. As we get ready to see how many minutes of stoppage time we're going to have on at the end of this first period, and I will get ready to ask another trivia question and see if anyone will know the answer. And we'll see if Mike or JB knows the answers as well. Some of these stats I found out earlier today, and I was actually speaking to my dad about these earlier on, some of these stats and some of these trivia questions, and he didn't get very many right, did my dad? Let's see if any of you can beat him. I know JB's already beat him back with one of the stats by game Real Madrid, right, for that earlier trivia question. So 1-up to JB over Midad as we see the ball play forward from Manchester City, but there's an offside flag there as Onana just gets back up to his feet after he's been down inside the penalty area there. Now the referee, Sismon Marcinek, runs across to have a check, but it appears to be okay, does the Inter goalkeeper, as the game is underway, coming up towards the 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half, and is still 0-0 between the two sides. It's probably shading the chances and in terms of shots on goal, but Inter has had to come back into it in the last 10-15 minutes or so of the game. As we
and
see
it does look like, what I will say, just for 2 seconds there as well, it does look like these are two sides that, you know, neither side wants to lose. You can see that, you know, not either side is really taking the full gone out full attack mode yet in regards to the way this game's gone. And you'd expect that as well, being obviously only the first half. But they also look a little bit like two sides that a little bit, you know, Inter Milan haven't won a trophy, haven't won the Champions League since I think it was 2010, and Manchester City haven't won it, you know, at all the Champions League, and are obviously going for the treble. So they look a little bit, yeah, like they're just trying to kind of get a feel for this game, and you know, you'll see a few risks being taken, I think, later on in the game. But at the moment, you can see, you know, Akanji there just smashing one over the top, and kind of taking a little bit of a risk there. But you haven't had too many moments like that from either side in this first half.
Absolutely not, Mike. Absolutely not, my friend. This is going to be a big second half for both sides. We're into the final 90 seconds of the first half. As we into final 30 seconds then. Well, into final 20 seconds now as the ball is headed out of play for a throw into Milan, and Darmian gets the ball and told to chuck it straight down the line looking towards Edin Dzeko, and the Dzeko appears to have fouled his man Ruben Dias there, and Dias is appeared to have been elbowed in the face there, but the referee doesn't give a free kick. He says that is it for the first half, and we still have no goals at the end of this first half between Manchester City and Inter Milan then. So 0-0 at the break between these two sides in what's been a very good game, but no, Man City probably just edging it in terms of shots on goal. Now, another trivia question before I hand back to JB. And Mike, JB, get your thinking caps on during the half-time break. Your listeners as well, get your thinking caps on as well. Which country has had the most different winners? Which country's got the most winners in the European Cup Champions League history? If you think you know, tweet us at Commentary Live 1 or get involved in the comment section below as well. And at the break then, it's Man City 0, Inter Milan 0. Myself and Mike will be back in about 50 minutes time as we hand you now to your man who's presenting us. It's over to you, JB.
Thanks, Ross. Thanks, Mike. Well, we'll hear from them in the second half. A terrific, real high drama in the first half, but the bad news for Manchester City and their supporters is Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, what will that do to their balance of the side? Inter Milan, as I said at the top of the programme, a team that you can never write off at your peril. They are a very good side. Certainly Inzaghi has them playing, and as they proved against AC Milan over two legs, they can be ruthless as well with Edin Dzeko up front. They certainly have the quality to cause Manchester City problems. Radim Uberek, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for joining us tonight. I should tell you that we're on all platforms, incidentally. Tonight we're on Storm FM, JB Sports, TCM and TCM2. We're also on the TCM Twitch channel, of course. So if you are on Twitch, a very good evening to you. A special good evening to you all from myself and the guys in the commentary box. And it has been a tactical battle between Messrs. Guardiola and Inzaghi, there's no doubt about it, but it's been a very good first half, played in a very good spirit. There's been no quarter given. There's been some good moments from both sides, and hopefully the game will pick up in the second half. It has to, really. And I should also stress at this point, and I've got to tell you at this point, that we will get a decision tonight, whether it's through 90 minutes, extra time, or penalties. So either way, there has to be a decision here in Istanbul tonight. So it's 0-0 here. Let's break off for a second because we've got some sports news as well. There's other sport going on around the world. Just to remind you of a couple of things that we've got lined up. Two things really come well. We've got the Soccer Aid coming up. That takes place tomorrow, of course, at Old Trafford. England against the rest of the world. We've got the likes of Usain Bolt playing, and we've got a few women playing. Karen Carney, one of my favourites, is in action. I'll be certainly watching her with great interest, that's for sure. That's for sure. But that's going to come up. Mike Arneman, I think, is going to do the commentary on that one. And then on Monday, last night, I actually had the privilege of breaking new ground for the TCO, because we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to play out the Diamond League Athletics from last night in Paris. I had the privilege of recording commentary of all the races as live on that meeting last night. And I have to tell you, there was some sensational action on the track. And of course, we'll keep you in news, of course, of what happened in the field events as well. Dino Asher-Smith and Keely also, and Keely Hodgkinson went for Britain yesterday. Hodgkinson in the 800, Dina Asher-Smith in the 200. Find out how they got on Monday as we bring you the very best commentary on all the races from last night's Diamond League meeting in Paris. So let's check some other sports news. Of course, there's the World Test Championship cricket. That is not chess. Of course, the game is being played at the Oval. We're into day 44 of 5. So let me bring you up to date with this World Test Championship final. Then Australia 469 all out in their first innings. Travis Head 163. Steve Smith 121. That in their first innings. India in reply were 296, and then Australia made a quick fire 270 for 8 declared. Carey top scoring with 66 there, and at the moment Virat Kohli is out there 164 for 3. India needs 280 runs to win, 280 runs to win. Australia 7 wickets for victory. So anything can still happen in this. In that game. That's the latest score in the cricket. Let's just bear with me a second. There we are. Let's go elsewhere. Back to football. And Yuri Tillemans has agreed to sign. Aston Villa have agreed to sign Leicester midfielder Yuri Tillemans. He will join officially on the 1st of July when his Leicester contract expires. He's out of contract at the end of the season. And there was a lot of suitors for him, potential. Arsenal were interested, Manchester United were interested, and Roma from Italy was. But it's Unai Emery who's beaten everyone to the punch. And so 3 years after joining Leicester City, Yuri Tillemans is now an Aston Villa player for next season. So Tillemans, an Aston Villa player. Now to tennis, Iga Swiatek beats Carolina Muchkova, and she obviously has a dominance on the French Open, and that's her 3rd Roland Garros title in 4 years. She was heavy favourite to beat the 43rd seed Muchkova, but had to dig deep to win 6-2, 5-7 and 6-4, so it went to 3 sets. She broke 4-3 in the decider, but Poland's Swiatek finished strongly to triumph. So she's won now 4 Grand Slams and the first woman to defend the title since Justin Henin way back in 2007. And a terrific achievement in doing that on the clay at Roland Garros. Now all eyes will be on Wimbledon, and of course we've got Novak Djokovic in action tomorrow. Also in tennis, in the Sabitson Trophy. Andy Murray has beaten Jordan Thompson to reach the final in that one. He now meets Austria's Juri Rodionov over 3 sets tomorrow, and that's a real opportunity for him to see what he can do there. Andy Murray through, maybe could be on there for Wimbledon at the moment. Some boxing going on as well, and there's some boxing going on at the moment. In fact, we'll leave the boxing for a while, but so there we go. Caroline Dragons, of course, they stay on top. They beat Old Kingston Rovers 38 points to 4 in a very one-sided match there. So there we go. It's there's just some of the football stories, some of the sporting stories, of course, and I have to say that this final has been a bit of a dark squib in terms of real chances, but still plenty to play for in this European Cup final. And it's the first ever final in June. I've also answered. I haven't put my answer out on the air, but what I can tell you that I've answered the question from Russ Vernon at the moment, and it's been one of those. It's been a good final. Of course, let's not forget VAR is involved, and what an opportunity. And of course, Alexis McAllister is going to be a Liverpool player next season. The Brighton man has signed for an undisclosed fee, which could rise to around about the £50 million mark as well. And a terrific signing for Liverpool going forward. Well, we saw in the last 2 European finals that we've seen. Of course, it was a week last Wednesday. It was a final to forget in the Europa League, where Roma and Seville played out a very disappointing 1-1 draw. Seville won on penalties in a game not remembered for football, but for the abuse that went towards Anthony Taylor, that referee that time. Seville won that one, and then in the Conference League on Wednesday, Russ was there alone to bring you that one in Prague. A terrific performance by West Ham. They took the lead and then won it through Jared Bowens. What a super smashing moment for him and for West Ham. David Moyes' first ever trophy, of course, and it was a terrific result for West Ham. They won their first major piece of silverware since the FA Cup and Sir Trevor Brooking all the way back in 1980. And tonight, Manchester City looking to emulate what that brilliant Manchester United team of 1999 are attempting to do, beat Inter Milan and win the European Cup. At the moment, they're drawing 0-0. They're being held by a very good Inter Milan side, very well organised. You get that with Inzaghi. He's a very well organised. He's a well organised manager. There's no doubt about that. In fact, whilst we've got you, let's talk about the run to the final. Of course, Manchester City. This is from the last 16 onwards. These are the results that both teams. They both started in the group stages. Now, Manchester City beat Seville 4-0 in their first match away from home. Then they beat Borussia Dortmund 2-1. This is the group phase. Then they beat Copenhagen 5-0 at home. Drew 0-0 away. They also drew 0-0 away in Dortmund and beat Seville. They actually finished with 14 points on top of the group, with Dortmund in second place. Seville, of course, finished third and then went on to win the Europa League. In the knockout rounds, Red Bull Leipzig was dispatched 8-1 on aggregate, and they won a whopping 7-0 in the home leg. That was the second leg. They drew 1-1 in the first leg. Bayern Munich were dispatched quite easily, 4-1. They won the first leg 3-0 and drew 1-1 in Munich. And Real Madrid dispatched 5-1 on aggregate, 1-1 in the first leg in Madrid, 4-0. It was a non-contest in the second leg. Inter Milan, they had a difficult group with only Bayern Munich and Barcelona, and they actually finished second in that group. They lost to Bayern Munich in the first game, beat Victoria Plzen 2-0 away, then beat Barcelona away at home 1-0. They drew 3-0, which was crucial, away in Barcelona. They beat Victoria again 4-0, lost to Bayern Munich, but it didn't matter. They won. They snuck in second place by 3 points. And then in the knockout rounds, round of 16, they beat Porto 1-0 on aggregate, 1-0 home first leg win, enough because the second leg finished goalless. The quarterfinals, they've been another Portuguese team, Benfica, 5-3 on aggregate. They won 2-0 away and drew 3-3 in the home leg. A real entertaining game, that one. And then in that all-Milan game against AC Milan, they won 3-0 on aggregate, 2-0 away, 1-0 at home, and they went through to this final. So far, they've both had a good they've had a good run towards the final. One or two things that we ought to be aware of, really. Inter Milan do pack a punch up front. Edin Dzeko and Martinez, the Argentine, as well. And you look at people like Matteo Darmian, who is a really good player, former Manchester United player, will be wanting to do very well, and that's for sure against Manchester City. Barella is a very good player. Brozovic, the Croat. You look at players like Denzel Dumfries, who makes very good runs from right back. But the real disappointment really is that Kevin De Bruyne has been taken off. The Inter players are just about to come out now, and this second half is going to be crucial now. The first goal, I believe, will be very, very important here, because if Manchester City get it, their tails are up. There's a lot of people in this press box here in Istanbul. Chris Sutton, not too far from us, predicted a landslide City victory. Well, I don't think it's going to be like that. It's a cup final, and anything can happen. There are 2 teams on the field. Obviously, Manchester City are the overwhelming odds-on favourites. But as I say, you do not discount Inter Milan at your peril. They are one of the great European sides. Remember, they won the Champions League back in 2010 in the first ever Saturday final. And that was absolutely terrific. The man who carried the Champions League final, Champions League trophy, in fact, out onto the field, was a former Turkish international, Ahmet Altintop. And this game should have been held in 2020 here and 2021, but they were relocated to Lisbon and Portugal. Of course, we've got Anita was sang the opening ceremony. Not that we needed an opening ceremony, it's the European Cup final. But Simone Inzaghi's team really giving it a good go. And I have to say, the referee, Szymon Magliak of Poland, has had a terrific match as referee so far. Let's hope he continues that vein as well. And as Manchester City look very business-like coming out of the tunnel. Certainly Edison and 1 or 2 others there. Remember, they're going for the treble, only achieved by an English team once, of the League, FA Cup and European Cup. Both teams are out on the field. Manchester City running out. It looks like Pep Guardiola is giving them a right roll rocket at half-time. Remember, Phil Foden is on for Kevin De Bruyne. Otherwise, it's as you were from the start. So we're all set to go then in the second half. Remember, if it's level after 90 minutes, we will have extra time and we'll stay with you for that. If it's level after that, penalties, we will stay with you until the bitter end here on all these TCB platforms. JB Sports, Storm FM, TCB 1, TCB and TCB 2. We're also live on the TCB Twitch channel. The referee's ready. We're ready. Let's rejoin Mike Arneman. But first of all, Russ Vernon.
Thank you very much, JB. The team's back out ahead of the second half, and I'll reveal the answer to the trivia question in the half time very, very shortly, as Edison just has possession for Manchester City. We'll run you through the 2 sides again in a moment or so. I can tell you what Mike and JB have guessed for the trivia question. JB has gone for Spain. Mike has said Italy, He says it could be England, but England could possibly be an option. But he's going for Italy. We'll tell you if any of those two are right next time the ball goes out of play. As Inter try and come away with the ball down the far side there, right. Man City's left as Ruben Dias plays it across to John Stones, who will take his time and make City be a lot calmer on possession and keep it nice and calm as the ball is played forward. Is cleared away this time, and Man City will have to do a bit of defending here now as City have got defending to do as Lautaro Martinez just loses out there. Rodri gets the ball across excuse me, to Nathan Ake. Here is Rodri and to John Stones then, and Stones will move the ball forward for Manchester City into Rodri. Now is Ruben Dias inside the centre circle. Over on that far left hand side is Nathan Ake now. City attacking the goal away to our right in this second half. They're attacking the goal to our left in the first half. They're attacking the goal to our right hand side. As here comes City again as Bernardo Silva just spreads the ball forward for Manchester City, and DiMarco goes down, and City coming away with possession, but then the referee has to stop the play here, does Simon Marinek, after DiMarco is down on the field, and the referee just stops the play. So while he's down, I'll run you through the two sides. So for City, it's Edison in goal. There's a back three of Manuel Akanji, Ruben Dias and Nathan Ake. John Stones and Rodri, the two holding role, is Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, who's gone off and replaced by Phil Foden now. So Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Ilkay Gundogan and Jack Grealish, and Erling Haaland leads the line. The City bench that are left are Ortega, Carson, Walker, Phillips, Laporte, Alvarez, Gomez, Mahrez, Perón, Palmer, Lewis. For Inter is Onana in goal. Damian, Acerbi and Bastoni across the back. Is Dumfries, Barella, Brozovic, Çalhanoğlu and DiMarco in midfield, with Lautaro Martinez and Edin Dzeko in attack. And Danovic, Cordas, Gagliardini, De Vrij, Gosens, Carrera, Villanova, Aslani, Enrique Mkhitaryan, D'Ambrosio, Skriniar and Lukaku on the Inter bench. We'll get the first Mike Oman of the opening 5 minutes or so in a moment, as Inter just win themselves thrown on this near side, the left, as I was just running through the teams there. Inter just have it in the centre circle. The answer to the trivia question I asked was which country have got the most wins or most winners of the European Cup or Champions League, whichever you want to call it. The answer is of course England with 5, and the 5 teams are Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Manchester United and Chelsea for that trivia question there. So as we come towards 5 minutes of the second half gone, is Man City 0, Inter Milan 0. And Mike, opening thoughts on the opening exchanges in the second half, my friend?
Yeah, so I think it's been very much more of the same, really. It's the second half as to how the first half panned out. I think both of the two sides are really just trying to, knock the ball around, and well, that's poor.
We'll try to break you off here, in Mike's ears. Bernardo Silva set a penalty for Manchester City. Pulls the ball back towards Phil Foden, still going is City, but DiMarco fetches the ball away for Inter, and now here comes Akanji for Manchester City as he tries to get the ball forward again for the citizens as they've won the ball back. We'll get back to Mike in a moment for his thoughts on the opening exchanges. As here comes Gundogan. Ilkay Gundogan to Nathan Ake. Out wide is Jack Grealish. Back into Ruben Dias. Midway inside the Inter half. Dias to Gundogan, to Rodri, to Gundogan. Gundogan again, back to Diash and Gundogan. Can't keep the ball in moving for City, but he gets the ball back and just goes down on the challenge of Çalhanoğlu and wins his side a free kick. Mike, your thoughts on the opening exchange of the second half, my friend?
Well, first things first.
Is on the floor.
Yeah, first things first. I think both keepers have had, have had something in that box now. I think it was in the first half, Ederson miskicked the ball from that box, and now obviously Onana's made a mistake in that penalty area as well. So, what if it's the curse of that penalty area? What if it goes to penalties? Everyone's going to miss.
If that's the case, they'll probably have to do it to the opposite end to make sure no one misses. If it's the case of that area, we'll have to wait and see.
It could be like obviously both keepers have made a mistake, but a couple of mistakes in that box now. As for the game itself, though, I think that Manchester City have been the better team overall. I think they've had the more chances, they've had the more clear-cut chances. I don't remember Inter Milan actually having a proper chance on goal really as of yet. But there's only 51 minutes played, so there's still time for that to change, of course. And there's still plenty of quality on their team and on their bench that can make it change as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think Manchester City will be happy with how the game's going. They're just lacking that all-important first goal. And I'm sure, if the game continues in the vein that it has done, it'll be them that gets the first goal, in my opinion.
Yes, and Manchester City have just won a free kick over on that far side, fouled by Darmian there as Lautaro just gets back up onto his feet. They were feeling that they should have been fouled there by Ilkay Gundogan, the referee from Poland. And check, didn't see nothing of it. We did see a foul in that on Jack Grealish. As City have a free kick on this near side. Phil Foden and Jack Grealish stands over this.
I was just going to say, for me, it doesn't look like there's much between the two fouls. I think they're very, very similar. I think.
We'll have to come back to you on that point in a minute, mate, please. As the
Inter Milan can feel a bit aggrieved.
Yes, as the free kick's taken into the penalty area, bounces all the way across to the far side. Akanji just can't keep the ball in play. He's out of play for a throw in there to Inter Milan. Mike, back to your point.
No, I was just saying there wasn't an awful lot between the two fouls. I think Inter Milan can feel a bit aggrieved, and the fact they didn't get a decision first of all. I think it could have gone either way. I think both of them were fouls, really.
Yes, as DiMarco will take a throw in for Inter Milan just inside his own half as he's played it back to Bastoni, who gets a high looping ball forward, picked up by John Stones, and Stones takes away from Dzeko, and still going Stones. Has to drop it back into Ruben Dias inside the City half, and he tells Ake to go forward. He now finds Ake, who finds Rodri, and Rodri looks for the ball to John Stones, and Stones is free. John Stones, away from one, away from two. John Stones plays it through to Ilkay Gundogan, edges the penalty area. Gundogan twisting, turning, out wide to Jack Grealish. Left hand side, Grealish puts the ball in, edges away to John Stones on the edge of the box again. On the right hand side now. Stones is found on the edge of the box. No, still going John Stones. Into trying to come away with possession. And it's a free kick being given away by Phil Foden there. But John Stones appeared to have been foul first, nothing given by the referee. And Foden says he never touched him. And each have got a free kick. Mike, let's see what you make of this.
Yeah, for me, that's very similar to the other one. I think it could have gone either way yet again. I think there's more of a foul in favour of Phil Foden there. I think Manchester City could have easily had a free kick themselves. So this referee, he's not had the best sort of 10 minutes of the second half here for me.
Yes, it is Lautaro Martinez for Inter Milan. Can Inter get their noses in front here? Çalhanoğlu strikes! Blocked by Rodri on the edge of the penalty area. Comes out to DiMarco. DiMarco on this left hand side. He's got Bastoni on the overlap. He puts the ball in towards the penalty over the head of Dzeko. He beats for Lautaro Martinez over on that far side, but the ball goes out of play for a throw-in. Came off a Kanji, so Lautaro Martinez had the ball run out of play for a throw-in. And now Inter will get players forward into the penalty area as the throw-ins are going to be taken, but they've took it quickly and short this time to try and confuse Manchester City, as they were expecting a long throw into the penalty area, but it didn't catch him off guard somewhat just there, as here comes Manchester City to force Onana almost into another mistake. I wonder if he's let off for the pitch man, which is where the mistakes have been happening. There's a man down for Inter off the ball. Looks like it's Edin Dzeko is a man down. He is, and I'm not sure if he appears from what he was doing there, man. For me, he may have picked up a bit of cramp there, Edin Dzeko. But it'd be interesting to see if that's the case. If the picking up cramp after just 55 minutes is Romelu Lukaku, the big Belgian man, is coming on for Inter Milan. He has come on for Inter Milan, should I say there. In a minute he will be. And the man coming off is Edin Dzeko. So Edin Dzeko's night is run. Romelu Lukaku, on loan from Chelsea at Inter Milan, comes on.
Is an absolute Inter Milan legend is Romelu Lukaku as well. Obviously, he was at the club and then signed for Chelsea on the back of spending, I think it was a couple of years between 2019 and 21 at Inter Milan, and then obviously moving to Chelsea and then going back to Inter Milan. And he seems to know where the back of the net is wherever he is anyway. So it's going to be a worry for this Manchester City backline and something a little bit different to face up against as well.
Yes, as the ball's in towards Lautaro Martinez, further on that far side from Dumfries, but Man City have read that situation well and will come away with possession as Jack Grealish picks up on halfway. Grealish lets the ball trickle back and then he passes it to Ruben Dias to find Manuel Akanji on this near side, coming up towards halfway, over halfway now. Plays it into the middle of the Inter half to Stones, out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva drops it back to Akanji now. Into Dias inside the centre circle, inside the Inter half, and across to the far side on the left, and Ake further out wide to the left, almost hugging the touchline. It's Jack Grealish. He drops it, comes in field, drops it back to Ake. Now here's Stones. Ake again. Good play this from Manchester City. Jack Grealish just knocking the ball well here for Man City. Here's Dias inside the centre circle from Ake's pass. Now he finds Akanji, does Dias, and now here's Bernardo Silva back to Akanji. Akanji to Rodri. Rodri doing really, really well here. Bernardo Silva drops the ball back as Martinez is onto it. Lautaro Martinez is onto this ball. Trezeguet striking on goal there, but fantastic save there from Ederson, but poor communication between Bernardo Silva and the City defence there. And now John Stones will try and come away with the ball here for Manchester City. Keeps the ball in. And finds Phil Foden. Foden on the other end now. Just getting the ball through to Ireland. Is he fouled there? Yes. Going to the referee in the first yellow card of the game. It's gone the way of the Inter man there. I'm trying to see who it was who brought down Phil Foden there to get up, pick up that yellow card. I think it might be Barella. Yeah, it is. Nicolo Barella, who's picked up that first yellow card of the game. And Mike, yellow card or not?
Yeah, I don't think you can argue with that. I think Phil Foden's running at him and using his pace well there. So yeah, I think that's a definite foul and a definite yellow card. And I'm just seeing here, again, it's very sloppy from Manchester City. They're really not at the races in terms of this game. Defensively, they're really giving the ball away so sloppily, and you can see Pep Guardiola's frustration in the way that this game is going, and some of these stupid mistakes that Manchester City are making as well. And Romelu Lukaku, who's obviously not long come on the pitch, is saying to Martinez, just slide me in there, and I could be putting us 1-0 up. So Manchester City maybe a little bit nervous going for this treble.
Could be, Mike, as we see Man City have a free kick here. Grealish over this. He plays it to Gundogan. Gundogan delivers the ball into a penalty. And it's there just over the bar from Ruben Dias. And Ruben Dias just almost on the hour mark. Going close there for Manchester City. But he couldn't keep his head down. And that was a wonderful training ground routine. But one which didn't come off there for Manchester City, Mike.
Yeah, it's good ball into the box. And then obviously Ruben Dias gets up well and just heads that one over the top of Onana's goal and doesn't dip in time. So it's an opportunity there for Manchester City, who, they seem dangerous enough going forward, but it's the defensive issues which potentially could catch them out in this game.
Yes, as both teams defensively look very, very poor at the back, especially in this second half. For Inter's case, City in the first and the second half, so that's something to watch out for as Mike Riley points out, as here comes Ake now. Both teams have got quality going forward. It's a defensive frailties which make play a part in this game as Grealish plays the ball into John Stones. John Stones who can't control the ball. And now here comes Manchester City to have a bit of defending plays. Here comes Dumfries now for Inter Milan, up towards halfway and over halfway on that far side. Got Lukaku down the line if he wants to go that way, but he decides against it and goes back to Darmian. Here is Achebe. Across now into the path of Bastoni. By DiMarco, and Bastoni gives the ball away. Bernardo Silva plays it into Erling Haaland, who drops deep. Haaland can't pick out Grealish. There is Man City try to get the ball out wide to the England man. But now here comes Inter Milan. Here comes Brozovic, who is the Croatian in this side, who is, and in since the final since 2013, a Croatian side, or a team with a Croatian player in the side, has gone on to win the European Cup. Could City fall into that trap and lose this final, with Inter getting the win today, with Brozovic the only Croatian in this side? As here comes Manchester City, and it's Bernardo Silva to take a throw in, and Pep Guardiola just encouraging his team there and doesn't know what to do. Bernardo Silva just throws it back there to John Stones, who gets it across to Ruben Dias, and now Nathan Ake. Ake will look up and he plays the ball into Phil Foden. Gundogan tries to get the ball over the top looking for Erling Haaland as Çalhanoğlu goes down there. Çalhanoğlu goes down, but Inter have possession, so the referee plays on. Here's Barella. Nicolo Barella gets the ball forward. Brozovic is there, plays it back to DiMarco. DiMarco coming forward here now. All right to Brozovic, the captain of Inter. Infield it goes to Barella. Back to Brozovic. He's got Bastoni on the overlap. Brozovic will look to get the ball in, will he? No. He goes to Barella to Bastoni. Bastoni back to Barella. Inter to get the ball into the box, and they do. Just heads away in there. Zlatan Martinez tries to get there. Heads back in. DiMarco's just offside. Is in there, is he? The referee says no, he didn't change for the ball. Here's Nathan Ake, who clears the ball away from Manchester City up towards Erling Haaland, who wins the header, but can't keep the ball moving. But now here comes City again as Rodri picks up the loose ball. This is good end-to-end stuff here now as the game starts to open up here now. Here's Bernardo Silva. He's got John Stones on the overlap. He finds John Stones. Stones with the ball in and deflects off Bastoni and just wide. That could have gone anywhere off of Alessandro Bastoni there, and Manchester City, with a brilliant bowling from John Stones, could have almost caused Inter to pull the ball into the back of his own, into the own end there through Bastoni, Mike Arneman.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good play from Manchester City. Good play from John Stones as well to get the ball into the box, and good defending from Bastoni to knock the ball behind for a corner here. So gives Inter Milan a bit of a chance here to get themselves marking up with their men now. Yeah.
Yes, as here's Grealish to take the corner then for Manchester City. There's a stoppage in play at the moment as the referee says a word with John Stones and Bastoni. Bernardo Silva gets involved as well. We're just looking at the incident here, and it's Bastoni who's got John Stones round the neck. Stones tries to move out of the way as now Grealish takes this corner kick. He comes towards Bernardo Silva, heads up in the air, but the free kick is being given. Foul by John Stones, it appears. As Brozovic is having a go at John Stones now. Stones is walking away with possession. He gives an high five to Brozovic. He's still having a word with Bastoni, and Bastoni has got hold of John Stones. What's John Stones supposed to do here? And then Stones is trying to get away, and Bastoni is putting hold of him. He actually put his arm on to try and get him off him, and the referee's penalised him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what John Stones could do any differently there. You know, it's just a battle between the pair of them. I think Ruben Dias has got somebody putting his shirt in there as well from the corner. So, you know, Manchester City can feel a little bit hard done by that free kick's gone against them there. I think, to be honest, there's not an awful lot in that, and you know the game could have probably just been allowed to play on.
Yes, as here comes Manchester City, who have the ball back with their goalkeeper Ederson. Ederson will keep hold of the ball and will try and get the ball forward here for Manchester City. He's made a few mistakes already in this game, Ederson. He won't want to make another one which could cost his team, and he finds John Stones, and now is Bernardo Silva. Back to John Stones, and there's a man on, and Stones turns away and wins his side a free kick. Bernardo Silva will take the free kick, or will leave it for Stones to. No, he takes it to Stones, and now Bernardo Silva to Rodri. Rodri sprays it to Ake. Stones has a word with Pep Guardiola there, as here comes Ilkay Gundogan, drops it back to Ruben Dias. Dias plays the ball forward, looking for the run of Erling Haaland, and Haaland's got away here. Erling Haaland from Manchester City tries to pick out Phil Foden, just cut out and defended brilliantly at the last moment there by Inter Milan. I think that was Diamond and Achebe both doing the defensive work there for.
That's superb defending as well, by the way, considering they lose out first of all. To get back and regroup and defend as well as that, that's very, very good defending, yeah.
And here is Phil Foden, now into the path of Nathan Ake as Man City come forward, trying to unlock this Inter Milan defence here now. Here's Rodri. Go play this one, Rodri. And now the ball is out wide with Bernardo Silva. Can City get their noses in front here? Bernardo Silva still going for the English side. Bernardo Silva drops it to Rodri. He's out wide to Nathan Ake, but Ake lets it run for Grealish. Grealish keeps the ball in play, delivers the ball in towards the penalty. Phil Foden is in there. Basically, the edge of the box is Ilkay Gundogan inside the penalty. Ilkay Gundogan puts round ball, nothing given. Phil Foden edge of the penalty area now. Foden twisting one way, then the other. Has to go all the way back to Akanji. And Akanji coming forward. He opens up for him to play the ball through to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva chips the ball in. Puts round ball, comes out to the edge of the box. And City take the lead. It's Rodri who scores, and Manchester City have opened the scoring through Rodri, the Spanish international, has given Manchester City the lead in the European Cup final. And Manchester City on course now to win the treble if they can hold on. 68 minutes gone. It's Man City 1, Inter Milan 0. They'll check it off for any interference in the build-up. But Manchester City have their noses in front, and it's that man, Rodri, with the goal, Mike Orneman.
Yeah, and it's a good bit of play from Manchester City as well, and a lovely finish from Rodri. Leaves Anana stranded there. Absolutely no chance for the goalkeeper in the Inter Milan goal, and it's a lovely finish there from Rodri, and just calmly places it into the net there. And I don't think any keeper is going to save that, really. Anana's got absolutely no chance on that one.
Yes, absolutely no chance. And Manchester City lead in the European Cup final, the Champions League final, is from Rodri. And the City fans are watching, and they see the goal now. We're just looking at the replay from the Man City fans. They're jumping for joy. And Rodri is the goal scorer for Manchester City. The goal stands, and City lead is his second goal in 12 games. And the City defensive midfielder opens up the scoring in this game, which now could really make this into a very, very good final 21 minutes or so, Mike Orneman.
Yeah, so the interesting thing as well goes back to what I said in the first half about how Inter Milan were playing. They were set up very, very defensively, and now they've really got to come out and go all for this game. Go and try and test this Manchester City defence in the final 20 minutes or so. So it's going to be interesting to see what the change in their system is going to be, because before, you can see even now that they're a lot more attacking actually compared to how they were sort of earlier on in the game, where they had sort of two banks of four. So you can see they really know what this game means to them, and they've really got to get a goal pretty soon if they want to make this a little bit of a worry for Manchester City at all.
This is Brozovic. Gets the ball into the penalty edge. Helps it on. Makes it towards Romelu Lukaku. DeMarco hits it! Off the crossbar, DeMarco again! It's the legs of Lukaku in Manchester City survive somehow. And Bernardo Silva will now fetch the ball away. He wins his side, a free kick, fouled by Darmian. And Manchester City was so close to being paid back there by saving over the crossbar and then saving by the legs of former Chelsea man Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah, you need a bit of luck to win the the European Cup or the Champions League, whatever you want to refer to it as. That's Manchester City's bit of luck. The one off the crossbar, you'd think that it was going to be put into the back of the net, and then Romelu Lukaku just gets in the way of his teammate. So, really, fortunate from a Manchester City point of view on both occasions. But as I said, anyone that's going to win this competition or a competition of this magnitude is going to need a bit of luck. Well, there's yours, Manchester City.
Absolutely, Mike Ornament. And with 19 minutes to go, I'm going to throw in another trivia question for you all, guys. And Mike and JB, get your answers ready to be put in when I ask you this question now. Manchester, we already know that Rounded were the first winners of the competition, and England won it 5 times. But I want to know now, guys, and I'll re-emphasise what I'm wanting to know here. Which manager has won the most titles in the competition? So which manager has won the most titles in the competition in the European Cup and Champions League history? Which manager's won the most titles, please? And you'll have until the 82nd minute, so 10 minutes time to get your answers in, and we'll try and get Mike's answer on air in a moment or so when next time we get a break in playing. JB, get your answer in, and listeners, get your answers in as well. You can tweet us if you want to do so. Commentary Live 1 is a place to get your answer in. As here comes Inter Milan with Onana, what's my name? As here comes Brozovic now for Inter Milan, their captain, and he's got a real big performance now to get this side firing again and try and get their side back into this game, as Onana just almost gave the ball away, but it breaks for Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez plays it through to Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku strikes at the goalkeeper Ederson there, and that's a fantastic effort in the end. And Nicholas Jones and Mike Oneman has put their guesses in. Just waiting for JB to put his guess in a moment or so. But cheers for getting involved, Nicholas. Hopefully you're doing okay, my friend. Thank you very much for listening to myself and Mike's commentary this evening between Manchester City and Inter Milan. Is 1-0 to Manchester City as DeMarco comes away with the ball for Inter. Down the line is Bastoni. Bastoni's still going. It goes down under the challenge of Rodri. No referee, no free kick. Rodri will come away with the ball. Here's John Stones. Ilkay Gundogan can't give the ball up forward for Man City. Breaks kind of almost for Erling Haaland there. The ball in towards the penalty. Keza 115 says, gonna say that too. Gonna say to that. He's also gone with an answer as well. We'll wait to see if JB puts an answer in, or we get an answer on our Twitter feed, our Commentary Live 1 to tweet us and get your answer in.
I was just going to say as well, just going back to this game a minute as well, just looking at some of these stats here regarding these Inter Milan players, and DeMarco is, I think he's got 5 assists in this competition for Milan. Kevin De Bruyne, incidentally, was top of the assist chart with 7, and he's going to really, have a big part to play in this game now. DeMarco, obviously, with De Bruyne, who was obviously left the fray in the first half with that injury and was replaced by Phil Foden. So guys like DeMarco have really got to step up now for Inter Milan.
They have got to step up now and step up very, very well, as here comes Kyle Walker for Manuel Akanji. And Akanji will come off now, and interesting switch here for Manchester City, with Walker being left out of the starting lineup and then coming on the bench after just 75 minutes. It's not been happening just yet, I don't think. Walker's still off the field.
It seems like there's a bit of confusion over the substitution. I think Kyle Walker's going to come on anyway, no matter what. But I think it's got a confusion over who's coming off, and I think Inter are trying to make a substitution or two as well. So just
Inter making a substitution here with Bastoni coming off for Gosens, and also coming on is Raul Bellanova.
So I think they were just having issues with the board. They're just trying to sort out the correct substitution for what team.
And for Dumfries here as well for Manchester, for Inter Milan. So no changes other than the Phil Foden change for Manchester City at this moment in time. Akanji is still on there at this moment in time. Walker yet to come on. Ilkay Gundogan will line up this free kick for Manchester City. He takes it towards the penalty area. Edge go up, he's headed away to this first. Jack Grealish on the edge of the box. Grealish drops the ball back in towards Gundogan now from Bernardo Silva's pass, and Gundogan is out to Nathan Ake as we get confirmation of Villanova on for Dumfries on the monitor in front of us. Wonderful player Jack Grealish plays it into Rodri, goes across now to Akanji. Akanji gets the ball out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva attacks down this near side. What can Bernardo Silva do is Akanji just keeps hold of the ball. No changes for Man City other than the one enforced change a few moments ago as we see this game unfold. So 6 minutes on the clock here. Man City 1, Inter 0. If you just missed the trivia question earlier on, as the goal comes towards an effort for Manchester City, Phil Foden. Fantastic save from Onana. And that is a fantastic effort in the end. And
that's brilliant refereeing, by the way. The referee there has played the advantage. There's a foul originally, and the referee's allowed Phil Foden to go on and have a run at the Inter Milan back line, and it's quite comfortable in the end for Onana in the Inter Milan goal. But that's very, very good refereeing there from the Polish official to allow Foden to continue and to have that run through on goal.
Yes, we've got JB's answering as well. And so if anyone else wants to get involved in that trivia question, I'll remind you of that trivia question in a moment. As here comes Manchester City in possession. He's got Akanji on the ball now. Here's John Stones. The question here, which manager has won the most titles in the European Cup or Champions League, whichever you want to refer it to as? Which manager has won the most titles, not most games or most wins, most titles? The answer will be revealed on the 82nd minute of this game as we see Manchester City 1, Inter Milan 0, as Man City will try and keep the ball coming forward. And here is Cianolu now for Inter Milan into the path of DiMarco. DiMarco up towards Romelu Lukaku, flicks down wide. Brilliant header from Lukaku to the substitute there. Bellanova delivers the ball in. He takes a deflection there off of Phil Foden. Behind for a goal kick. Behind for a corner, should I say, to Inter Milan. As we just see this effort again from Phil Foden. Fantastic save from Onana to keep his side in the game there. The answer will be coming shortly to that trivia question. Then we'll have one more trivia question for the evening for our listeners, and my two colleagues I'm working with tonight can get involved. As the ball's in towards a penalty area, and the edge of the box is Brozovic. Brozovic gets the ball out wide. Barella, further out wide to Bellanova. Bellanova delivers the ball in, comes back out to Barella there, and Barella just fires it just over. Barella going close there from Inter Milan as Inter try to come forward. There's a goal again from Rodri. Fantastic finish to give City the lead and on course for the treble. But what a fantastic goal. The goalkeeper Nana never moved, but Inter Mike, a few chances of themselves a few moments ago, with nothing coming from them, and good blocks in the end for Man City and good defensive work on the system since they've gone in front as well tonight. Yeah,
Manchester City are doing very well to see this game out at this moment in time. You can see players like Kevin De Bruyne, who's obviously been replaced due to that injury in the first half.
We'll break off here, Mike, as here's Foden. It was a penalty area, still going Phil Foden, loses it out. We get the ball back, Bernardo Silva nips in. Here comes Bernardo Silva edge of the penalty area, still going. We'll get back to Mike's point in a moment. It's Bernardo Silva still going, twisting one way, then the other, and he wins his side of free kick. And then fantastic play by Bernardo Silva to win his side of free kick. Blezovic is the man who's fouled him. 10 minutes of this game to go, plus stoppages, until the game finishes or we go to extra time. Well, Mike, get back to your point, my friend.
No, I was just saying, now you can see Kevin De Bruyne, who's obviously gone off injured in the first half, really kicking every ball from the sidelines and trying to rally his teammates and get them over the line in this game. And you can see, how much it means to him. Obviously, he's not going to play any further part in this game, but he's very much kicking every ball from the sideline and cheering his teammates on in that aspect.
Yeah, there's a man down for Manchester City inside the penalty area here. And it's John Stones who's gone down. He's had his shirt ripped and remains down inside the penalty area here. I want to see what happened here because he's come from when Man City had the free kick. Trying to see what has happened. We didn't see what happened there because when the free kick was taken. He's come again, and this time is with the number 8 Gosons, who just pulls him down to the ground before the free kick came in, as he was trying to get around the back and ripped his shirt. So you can see part of his skin from under it. As Kyle Walker gets ready to come on now for Manchester City. Will be coming on any minute now, will Kyle Walker. And John Stones has gone off and is going to be replacing John Stones, who has had a phenomenal game today for Manchester City. As we now reach the 8-second minute mark, we'll get you the answer to that trivia question in a moment as Edison just claims the ball. So we can now give you now the answer to the trivia question was, which manager has won the most titles, not games, not finals, titles? And the answer is current Real Madrid boss Carlo Ancelotti, and he has won it and he's got 4 titles in the European Cup or Champions League. We're going to have one very, very shortly. And I'll ask you for that in just a moment or so's time. So stay tuned for that trivia question. I'll ask you that in the 85th minute, as Romelu Lukaku picks up a yellow card, and I'll reveal the answer in the 89th minute. So you'll have a shorter period of time to get answering. And Mike, what I want you to do right now, my friend, before you start thinking of the question, before I give the trivia question, be thinking, and when you've got it, send it through to us. Who's going to be the player of the match this evening, my friend, in this game? And there could be a number of candidates to choose from, because a number of players have performed really, really well as Inter Milan make a double substitution here. Coming off is Matteo Darmian is the first one, and then Chaneloglu comes off as well. They're replaced by Enric Mkhitaryan and Danilo Ambrosio, should I say, as Inter defend this free kick from Manchester City. I suppose it was Phil Foden. Foden gets the ball across behind for a corner, and this is good play again from Manchester City over the far side. And it's a good bit of play again for Manchester City. Slide rule pass down the left hand side, forcing the corner. Good bit of play this as we see this corner coming in a moment. Rodgers inside the penalty area, the goal scorer for Manchester City. Janulu's just off of the bench now. Arlen's in there, in around Achebe and Onana. As here comes Manchester City with this corner. Jack Grealish with the corner in towards the penalty, saved in the end by Onana and claimed easily in the end by Onana.
That was good from the Inter Milan goalkeeper there. He claims that one very easily and comfortably, and is able to get the ball moving pretty rapidly, into an attacking move as well. So very solid goalkeeping that.
It was indeed, yes. There, Mike, I'm going to ask you the other question now, and the other trivia question, and the final one for this evening. so many teams have won the treble, and we'll go back to this point in a moment as here comes Inter Milan. It was a penalty shot coming across there from the number 8, Gersons, and he goes out of play for a throwing over on that far side to Manchester City. The question, so many teams have won the treble, but what I want to know is, which team won the treble in the 2019-2020 season? So which team won the treble in the 2019-2020 season? Get your answers in. I'll reveal the answer in the 89th minute of this game, as here comes Ilkay Gundogan to Ake to clear the ball downfield, looking towards Phil Foden, who can't keep the ball in play. And Mike, while you're thinking of the answer, also remember to get your play of the match in for us before we come to you for the play of the match choice there as well. And Mike is guessing Liverpool, JB guessing Bayern Munich. See who else was their guesses in a moment or so, guys, as we get ready for the closing stages of this skimmers. Here comes Jack Grealish from Manchester City over on that far side. Grealish is attacking down the left hand channel out for a throw-in as the ball plays into Henrik Mkhitaryan, the former Manchester United and Arsenal man, looking to break Man City arcs, and he wins his side a free kick there. He just gets the ball from Phil Foden, and now Man City have to go back in their defensive shape to get on with the attack as the ball will come forward. Here comes Brozovic. Wonderful playlist from Inter Milan as they try and get back into the game. The ball from DiMarco is headed away by Kyle Walker. Here's Rodri. Gundogan. Phil Foden. Can't get the ball forward. City have switched to a back four since the substitution of Walker for Stones. 4-2-3-1 is now the formation I've just noticed.
Just got an interesting stat as well regarding this, which I'll let you come to me in a minute on, actually, regarding Pep Guardiola. So I'll let you know that one in a moment.
Okay, Mike. Mike's got an interesting stat on Pep Guardiola. We'll come to him in a minute. As he comes into Milan, Gersons with the cross in towards the back post. It breaks for the fellow substitute Bellanova. Bellanova on that far side. Drops the ball back to Brozovic. Brozovic in towards Gersons. Gersons in cross. Lukaku's there. And it's just gone wide. And lucky Cam Inter gets there. They thought the equaliser was begging. And Ruben Diaz somehow is
I don't think Ruben Diaz knows anything of. Ruben Diaz knows absolutely nothing about that whatsoever, and it nestles wide of the goal. And yeah, again, very fortunate for Manchester City, but they'll take it as it comes.
Yes, as DiMarco takes the corner, flicked on there at the near post, behind for a goal kick to Manchester City. But how unlucky was Inter there, Mike, with that chance from Brozovic in. Gersons heads back across, and Lukaku headed down, and then just hits Edison and hits Diaz and goes wide. And like you say, Mike, Diaz knew nothing about that whatsoever.
Yeah, and Lukaku had a bit of an impact since coming off the bench as well. I think maybe not in the right way. I think obviously he stopped a goal earlier on where was in the way of one of his teammates, and then again there he could have easily put that one into the net past Edison, but it was good goalkeeping and good defending from Diaz. And Inter Milan, well, the time's running short for them at the moment. They've got about a minute plus injury time, and it just doesn't seem to be their night. Everything seems to be going against them.
Yes, as here comes DiMarco to the substitute Gersons, who gets swapped on, and Romelu Lukaku's in behind here now for Inter Milan. Romelu Lukaku enters the penalty test again. Romelu Lukaku drags the shot wide, and that's a poor effort from the big Belgian international. And he dragged that shot wide and couldn't test Edison as Edison falls to the floor and takes a breather. There does the Man City stopper. And that's another poor effort there from Inter Milan. They dragged it wide and just went wide in. The answer to the question where I asked the last trivia one, who was the last team to win the treble back in the 2019-2020 season. And I can say we have got one winner in our guesses that we've had. We've had Mike, who guessed Liverpool, We had Nicholas, who guessed Paris Saint-Germain, and we had JB, who guessed Bayern Munich. I can tell you, as we enter 5 minutes of stoppage time, the correct answer is Bayern Munich. So well done, JB, for that one. And good guesses though from Nicholas and Mike. And in a moment, next time the ball goes out of play, or Man City will just want a free kick there. Bye-bye. The Ambrosia for a foul on Phil Foden. Mike Ornament, who is your player of the match?
Yeah, for me, my player of the match looks like he's going to win the game for Manchester City with his all-important goal as well. I think Rodri is going to get player of the match for me. I think he's had a really good game and he seems to be everywhere, really. He's defended very, very well and he's popped up with a goal down the other end as well, which, at this present moment in time, looks like giving Manchester City that treble. So, yeah, Rodri for me.
Yeah, so Rodri then is the player of the match, sponsored by the brilliant commentary services, as Haaland has been pushed out of the way there by Onana and Haaland gets a booking there. Haaland's not happy with his booking, and interesting to see the incident again there, because I'm not really sure Haaland did anything wrong with that, as Onana clears forward from a free kick for Inter Milan. Lukaku tries to split the ball on, but there's a City head there to win it with Ake, and he goes out of play now from Ake as he leaves it to go out of play into trying to fetch it forward. Played 2 of the 5 additional minutes, and it's Man City 1, Inter Milan 0 is the scoreline. In the end, there
that stat that I was going to mention just a minute ago as well was regarding Pep Guardiola, and it looks like he's on course to win the Champions League 3 times. And the last twice that he won it was with Lionel Messi in his side. So, the manager of Manchester City, is he going to do it without Lionel Messi and get the 3rd title without Messi in the side? It looks like it at the moment, but they've got a bit of defending to do from this set piece.
This is the ball comes back in and just wide from the edge of the penalty area. Barella with a shot, fired it just wide as the free kick came in. And Barella not forward in the end there from Inter. There was a huge appeal for offside in there. Probably wouldn't have counted. So some offsides inside the penalty. There's a yellow card for Ederson for taking too long over this goal kick. He was having a dream while the ball was being retrieved by Ruben Dias. As the ball went behind and no one went to get the ball for him. So I'm a bit surprised that he's been bumped there as he clears away. And he slipped as he did that clearance there, did Ederson. But there's the header forward from Manchester City. Now here comes Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva just tries to keep hold of the ball for Man City for his fouls. DeMarco wins this side a free kick, and every player in the Inter side will be pushed forward. Now Onana will come out to his goal to take this free kick, and City know if they score, get the ball back from here and they break quickly, they could potentially score. But Ederson dives on the ball, goes down, holds on to the ball and tries to, and just takes a bit of time and pressure off this Man City backline, who's been under a bit of pressure in the last couple of minutes or so. But stuff he's had to do in this game today, Ederson has pulled off some remarkable saves in the end. And Man City are less than a minute away for securing a treble, unless Inter Milan get a last gasp equaliser and take this game to extra time. As a throw-in to Inter Milan after a brilliant challenge from Phil Foden. It's back.
Manchester City will be very, very happy to keep the ball down that end of the pitch though right now.
Absolutely, Marcus. The ball is headed back forward by the head of Ruben Dias. Out of play for a throw into Inter Milan. Inter have to get the ball forward if they have any chance of getting back into this game, and Brozovic has taken charge of that. He's in towards the penalty. Gusson sends the ball forward. It clears away as Inter try and get the ball back in towards the penalty area. It's Brozovic again to try and do that. He spreads it out wide to this right hand side, and further out wide is the substitute Bellanova puts the ball in. It's deflected behind. It's a corner to Inter, and
the goalkeeper here the keeper's got to go up 100%. Onana's got to go up here. Although Inzaghi's incensed about something. He's incensed about a possible handball, I think, maybe.
Yes, there's Onana's up from the back, man. You're right there with Onana coming up from the back. We played over the 5 minutes of stoppage time now. It is a minimum of 5 minutes. The referee just had a word with Inzaghi. The corner will now be taken by DiMarco. City know that if they get the ball back here, they could break it. The ball comes in, punched clear. And Inter still on the ball. It's Alberto Brozovic. Can't keep the ball in play. And there it is. It's all over. Manchester City win the treble. And Manchester City are European champions. 2022, 2023. Rodri with the goal to seal the win for Manchester City. And a European Cup title has now come back to the Etihad. Pep Guardiola has won it for a third time, and the first time without Lionel Messi. But what a game, and what a performance from these Manchester City players. Rodrigo, or Rodri the hero, but Mike Orleman. City have done the treble.
Yeah, and wow, what a season they've had, winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup, and now the icing on the cake. In fact, it's the cherry on the icing on the cake, isn't it, for Manchester City, really, to win the Champions League as well. Inter Milan gave a good account of themselves, but they just weren't good enough on the night. They didn't have enough about them on the night. Manchester City were able to stand up to everything that was thrown at them comfortably and easily. And Erling Haaland and Ilkay Gundogan and co have won the Champions League. They've won the treble, as you say. And Ilkay Gundogan, if that's the way that he's going to go out from Manchester City as well, he couldn't have asked for anything better.
Absolutely not, Mike. Absolutely not, my friend. Manchester City win the treble and become the first English side since Manchester United back in the 1998-99 season to do the treble. The third British side to do the treble after Celtic in 1966-67 and Manchester United in 98-99. But what a season and what a story for Manchester City. Treble winners, Premier League, FA Cup, and now the Champions League. Inter Milan put a great fight, but it wasn't to be in the end. Man City's name inscribed on the trophy. The trophy presentation coming up with myself and Mike Orleman shortly. But right now, let me hand back over to the man in the presenting chair. He's over to you, JB. And what a way for my 200th game on the hub to be a Man City treble winning game.
Russ Burnham, what a commentary. What a 200 commentary that really was. A dramatic second half. And Manchester City with that 67th minute goal. 67 minutes. Rodri with the goal. But the real hero, I know Rodri got player of the match, but the real hero was Ederson. Those saves from point blank range, and the one at the end from Ryan Gosens was unbelievable. And Mike Orleman, if you're still with us, Mike, I mean, I've watched European Cup finals for 30 years, man and boy. I've seen some cracking finishes to them, Manchester United being one of them. But have you ever seen a save in the last second, which is the last touch of the ball to win a European Cup final? Ederson's save at the end there was unbelievable. And really, when you look back at it, I know you get the man of the match to Rodri, and you have your reasons for doing that. But surely you have to say Ederson, really, for those superb saves, has actually won City the treble when you look at the analysis and the amount of chances Inter Milan did have in the game.
Yeah, I do think that Ederson was up there. The reason I didn't give it to Ederson was because he was a little bit, what's the word? It was a little bit off it with his feet and the way that he was playing around it, in the first half, and certain mistakes that he made and giving the ball away and things like that. So that's the reason why he didn't get the player of the match. He was in the sort of thought process for sure, alongside the likes of Rodri, Ilkay Gundogan, who I thought had a good game as well. Nathan Ake, who I also thought had a good game at the back. But for me, I do think the fact that Rodri's goal was won it is kind of what swung me in his favour in terms of player in the match. But that save, as you say, was phenomenal from Ederson. I said it during the commentary there alongside Russ that Inter Milan players, sort of a management team, sort of need a bit of luck if they're going to win this tournament, and the luck was certainly in favour of Manchester City tonight, not just with that moment, but with a couple of other moments as well.
Absolutely. I'm just seeing Inter players in tears. They really put up a brave fight. You've got to say, and I did say at the top of the show, that this was never going to be a foregone conclusion, so it proved. But Manchester City, the sky's the limit for them now, Mike. I thought the most impressive victory out of the three trophies they won was the FA Cup last week. They should have won by more than the 2-1 last week, but this is the Manchester City. They're used to winning 6-7-0 in the Premier League most weeks, but a lot of people question their spirit, I suppose, if the chips were down. And they had to fight tonight. It was never going to be a foregone conclusion like some people did around here. Chris Sutton being one of them, and Chris Sutton said they were going to win easily tonight on radio, on another radio station.
Well, to be honest, I was alongside Chris Sutton. I thought that Manchester City would be too strong. I thought it's something like a 3-0. To be honest, would have been the outcome. No disrespect to Inter Milan at all, but I do believe that the quality was there from Manchester City. I think they've got a lot more in terms of the quality they've got in terms of the squad. But yeah, I don't know. That was just my opinion on the matter of things before the game, and obviously it didn't pan out that way at all.
But the point I'm trying to make is, Mike. City, they win games most weeks in the Premier League. They win it 3-4, 5-0 against a lot of teams, and when the chips are down and when they need to show character, they haven't had to show too much character this season. Of course, they had to overturn an 8-point deficit against Arsenal. Of course, sorry to bring that up, Mike, but and they show character there. But in a one-off game like this, to show the character that they showed, especially when they went ahead in the game through Rodri, and then Ederson to make those saves, City's was back to the wall. They lost Kevin De Bruyne as well, which didn't help the balance of the team, although Foden came on and did a good job. The character was in question. The question marks were there tonight, and you have to say, Mike, hand on heart, they answered them, and answered in absolutely superb style.
Yeah, for sure, they absolutely did. And I think the word you used there is character, and it's the character of Manchester City is not just one on this game, but has won on the treble. I think, when you look at the 8 points sort of behind Arsenal that they were, and then obviously that victory against Arsenal, and then obviously going on and winning the Premier League from that position, helped out by obviously Arsenal losing a few players to injury and a few mishaps in terms of results and stuff as well. But Manchester City showed the character to overturn that and to be right on Arsenal's nose, and then to jump Arsenal and win the title. Showed plenty of character last week in the FA Cup final as well. So yeah, that's the perfect way of describing it. Manchester City for this treble have been very full of character and hunger, determination. Whatever you want to refer to it as in regards to that as well, has certainly played a part. And this Manchester City side, wow, you can talk about the amount of money that they spent and everything like that, but when they've got players of the quality of Haaland and Foden and De Bruyne and Grealish and Gundogan, Rodri, the list is absolutely endless in every position. They're just a different animal, aren't they, Manchester City, really, compared to everyone else?
Yeah, absolutely. You made the point, really. They spend a lot of money, but then again, other teams have tried to spend as much money as Manchester City have. But the thing is, to spend money is one thing, but to build a team out of it and get the right blend together is quite another. And you've got to give, and this is where Pep Guardiola, as a manager, really comes into his own here, because he tries new things. In recent weeks, John Stones has been playing in this hybrid midfield role where he'll introvert from a back three to a back four, which allows Stones a license to push in the midfield. He's tried little tweaks like that this season, and it seems to have worked. And of course, when you've got Erling Haaland there, £50 million worth of striker, that was probably the signing that really won them the treble, because to win the Champions League, you need a focal point, don't you? You need a striker that can score you goals, get you plenty of goals, and that's what City lacked for 2 or 3 seasons. And then when Pep Guardiola identified Haaland, there was talk of Harry Kane coming. That never materialised. But Erling Haaland I think was probably the best. I think that's probably his greatest signing. When you think about it, 52 goals this season, Mike. Unprecedented. I don't think anyone scored 50 goals in a season since Everton's Dixie Dean back in the 1920s. It just goes to show, doesn't it? What a signing he's been and what a difference he's made to a great City lineup. But he's made them even greater with those 52 goals alone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And 12 of them, incidentally, have come in the Champions League as well. So I think he was 4 clear of Mo Salah in the competition regarding that. So just from Champions League alone, I think it was 12 in 25. So, it's a goal pretty much every 2 games, which is a great record, yeah.
Well, the Inter fans, to be fair, they've stayed behind. I think I criticised Manchester United fans last week when they didn't stay behind to applaud their team up the 107 steps to the Royal Box. I think it's a travesty the Inter fans will be disappointed, but I think in the cold light today, they had their chances. They just found Ederson too good on the night, and they will look back with regrets. But Manchester City. Everyone thought it was theirs for the taking after they beat Real Madrid. They thought it was the hurdle they had to overcome. I have to say, Inter Milan was a much trickier hurdle than Real Madrid. But having said that, it is a cup final. Anything could happen. It's gone the way of Manchester City. Home why Jack Grealish is in tears of joy. Erling Haaland, what a season he's had. As I say, 52 goals. The podium just about being built. As soon as the losers' medals are being presented, we'll be crossing back to Mike and Russ Vernon. But just to let you know that Manchester City, Rodri's goal on 67 minutes has won Manchester City their first ever European Cup final. It's their second European trophy. They've had to, you wait 53 years for one, and then it all comes together. Kevin De Bruyne, who was disconsolate after about 35 minutes this evening of the final play, he can now celebrate with his teammates. He's a Champions League winner, and he should be pleased. I know he's injured, but he will be pleased. And we thought the Manchester City team that won the Cup Winners' Cup final back in 1970 was a great team. In those days, they had Colin Bell, Francis Lee, Mike Summerby, Tony Buck, Joe Carrigan, the goalkeeper, and all that jazz. The presentation party now about to make their way onto the platform. Only UEFA dedicates as well. It's a day that Manchester City fans, 30 years ago, 24 years ago, Mike, this is why football is such a funny old crazy game. It's they were playing in the League One playoff final, or the then second division playoff final against Gillingham. They were 2 goals down. Paul Dickoff scored a brace. They won that final, and from that moment on, the club was reborn. And here they are now, some 24 years later. After that, winning the greatest club competition in Europe, let alone the world. And of course, now they get a crack at the World Cup next season as well, don't they?
Also, yeah, crazy, JB, isn't it? When you look at where they've been, where they've come from, to where they are now. The likes of Paul Dickoff, as you say, would be very, very proud of this moment. The likes of Sean Gota as well, guys like that, who were sort of big players for Manchester City back in those days. They'll be looking at this Manchester City side now, full of pride, full of joy, full of just sheer delight, really, at how the season's gone for them, and the upturn of Manchester City as a club over the last sort of 20 years or so, as you say, just over 20 years. It's absolutely phenomenal, really, and it's sort of it's a story that could be written into a movie for sure. If you
yes, absolutely.
If you look at the last 20 years or so of Manchester City, a lot of these teams have got documentaries on Amazon Prime or other programming streaming services or whatever. Like, this is the one that could be written into a film, and sort of really do well as a movie as well with Manchester City from where they were to where they are now.
Absolutely. As Elton Top, the former Turkish player, puts the European Cup on its little glass plinth, and there signifies the ribbons on it, the sky blue and white ribbons of Manchester City. But Inter Milan, and what a nice touch from Manchester City. They're going to give a guard of honour to Inter Milan, and that's great sportsmanship. That is for sure. As soon as Inter Milan step forward, we will be handing back to Russ Vernon, who will cover the trophy lift for you here on the TC Hub. And I have to tell you that it has been an amazing season, and I've got one little surprise left. Just to remind you, we've got Soccer Aid coming up later this weekend, and then on Monday, athletics from the Diamond League meeting, which I did in Paris last night. And I have to say, I had great fun doing that. But the officials are about to get their medals from the presentation party. And with that in mind, let's hand you back now to Russ Vernon, who's now going to describe the ceremonies and the trophy lift for Manchester City. Russ, it's all over to you.
Thank you very much, JB. The match officials going through there to get their medals, including the VAR team, which we never really needed tonight. And I've got Mike on alongside me to go through the trophy presentation as well. There's the match officials who are now going to be standing for a photo as Inter team will come down, led by Lautaro Martinez, taking the applause of the Man City team as they go past. Hugs with Pep Guardiola, handshake with the City manager and the coaching staff towards the end of the line as they go down to get their medals. It's Lautaro Martinez who leads the first one down, followed by his manager Simone Inzaghi, and then the rest of the team will follow down. Dumfries is there to get his, D'Ambrosio to get his as well, Bellanova to get his as well, and Mike, well, as the Inter players go down and get their medals, they can hold their heads down. They're putting a fantastic performance tonight, but in the end, it wasn't to be, was it, for Inter Milan this evening?
No, it wasn't to be, but they can certainly hold their heads up high. They give a really good account of themselves against, a phenomenal Manchester City side who, were everyone's favourites to go on and win this trophy. They've certainly had their moments in this game. It could have been a different story, bar the Edison save at the end and a couple of other moments that hit the crossbar and stuff as well in the second half there at 1-0. So, it was one of those games where they had their moments, and they've certainly got a lot they can take from it still in defeat. They can be proud in the defeat. I know they're going to be disappointed, they're going to be hurt, and they're going to be upset and everything like that. They haven't lifted the trophy, but I'm sure that will motivate them to go on and do well and kind of to try and use it as a bit of motivation. Sorry, I should say, and use it in an optimistic way going into next season for them.
Yes, absolutely. There's the captain Brozovic going up to get his. 3 people left of the Inter squad to go through, as mine were just talking through theirs. But then we'll go through all the City squad one by one in a moment. As there's Çalhanoğlu, the Inter Milan midfielder, who's collected his. The Inter players remain out on the field of play with their medals around their necks to clap their opponents, Manchester City, who will make their way to go up on to the podium to get their medals in just a moment or so and lift up the European Cup, which will be lifted up by İlkay Gundogan, the City captain. Calvin Phillips came to Man City from Leeds in the summer and has won a treble, first treble in his career. But what a performance that he's played. He's not really played much, but in games he has played, what performances. Ederson leads the way for Manchester City, taking the applause as he leads the way down, followed by Rodri, the match winner. Pep Guardiola's there too, and the City players will roll down and get their medals. Pep Guardiola will get his medal first, followed by his goalkeeper Ederson. Then it'll be Rodri, and we'll tell you through the trophy presentation as they go down one by one. There's Ederson getting his medal now. Pep Guardiola with a little wink towards the trophy. Ederson walks past and will give it a little kiss.
Just regarding Pep Guardiola as well, obviously he had that moment against Inter went into were managed by Jose Mourinho, which he said was one of the nights in football that he wanted to forget. And over the two legs losing to Inter at that stage. Well, if that was one to forget, this is certainly going to be one to remember for him and his Manchester City team.
Yes, it is Jack Grealish, his first Champions League trophy. Laporte there too to kiss it. There's Bernardo Silva, who's gone through. The match winner's already gone through and got his medal. As the rest of the City players go through. There's Cole Palmer touching it. John Stones is there, who played a big part in this game. Ortega Moreno, the goalkeeper, Stefan Ortega. There's Scott Carson, another former Leeds United player. He was part of the Liverpool squad when they won it in 2005 on this stage. There's Erling Haaland, as Rico Lewis has also gone past. Kyle Walker, who came off the bench tonight and played his part in the game, gets his medal. As too does Manuel Akanji, who's had a fantastic performance tonight. Nathan Ake is there to play it. Kyle Walker kissing the trophy. So too does Akanji, does he know he just holds on to it. So does
the thing
Ake.
there. Just looking at that there with Akanji and Ake, but you see Erling Haaland just before, he's in disbelief. He's in a bit of shock about what's happening here. He's looked at the trophy and he's like, have I done this? Have I won the Champions League? Am I a treble winner? Even Erling Haaland there looks in a bit of disbelief.
Yeah, Phil Foden's gone. Kevin De Bruyne's gone past. Ilkay Gundogan's got his medal. He's now going to be handed over the Champions League trophy by the UEFA president. He's now collected the trophy. He will now walk down. He will turn it around as he held it the wrong way initially. He walks across to his coaching team and the players. The players coming across the rest of the coaching staff. Ilkay Gundogan steps through. He's behind Walker and Guardiola and the rest of the squad. He now lifts it up and confirms Manchester City as European champions. The champions of the Champions League, the European Cup in Istanbul 2023. The winners are Manchester City of England and treble winners as well. Congratulations to Pep Guardiola. Congratulations to Manchester City. And congratulations to a wonderful season and the wonderful players in there as well. Calvin Phillips didn't get his dream scenario. He wanted to come on and play a part. He didn't get that, but he got his trophy. He's got his medal, and a trophy and medal he will be long and proud of, and one which I'm sure that Granny Val, Calvin Phillips' Granny Val, who died while he was at Leeds United, will be looking down on in pride, seeing him hold up this trophy in just a few moments' time as they pass it around the squad. Calvin Phillips, a treble winner, and Manchester City, a treble winning side as well. Pep Guardiola has done it with Manchester City, won the Champions League. That was all that was left for him to win the Etihad, and now he has done it here in Istanbul. What a season! What a season for Manchester City, and Manchester City win the 2022-2023 Champions League and also the European Cup. As they say, we are the champions, and pose for a photo with all the squad there, including the backroom staff. And he stands there next to the match winner Rodri and dances along. Manchester City are winners by 1-0 and win the European Cup. Full time in Istanbul. Man City 1, Inter Milan 0. Man City are the European Cup champions 2022-2023. JB, back over to you.
Wow, what a moment. Manchester City fans, drink it in, because this has been one of the most amazing moments in footballing history. That has to be said. And we're almost at the end of what's been a remarkable year of football on the Commentary Hub. We started the season back in late July with Burnley versus Huddersfield away at Burnley with Mike. And nearly 11 months on, we have just witnessed one of the most amazing finishes to a Champions League final for many a year. Rodri's 67th minute goal decided it all, but Edison saved two free cracking saves towards the end as they start their lap of honour here. It has been a night to remember, and I just want to I'm going to just say thank you to Russ Byrne and the terrific commentary, Mike as well. These two, I want to pay tribute to these two guys away to my right-hand side, because if it wasn't for these two deciding, along with Barry Swain 18 months ago, we would not have a platform to broadcast such material on any YouTube platform or Twitch platform. These two guys, especially Mike and Russ, they worked tirelessly hard to make the Commentary Hub the success it is. And well played to them. And these two, if anything else, deserve a bit of a rest, because for the last 12 months, Russ has been behind the scenes. He's not just a commentator. He's not just a presenter. He's not even just a pundit. He's everything about the Commentary Hub. He's a producer. He runs the Twitter handle, which gives you all your transfer news every single day. He does the transfer deadline days every summer and every January as well. And I have to say, on behalf of everybody here on the Commentary Hub, thank you. And I also want to just say as well, before we leave you as well, that let's thank everybody that's taken part this season in any capacity. And I want to, not just Russ and Mike and myself, really, I want to pay tribute to other contributors. Nicholas Jones, who's really had a terrific season personally. He had some tremendous games to commentate on, especially in the World Cup with England. Fantastic commentator in the making. We've had Paul James as well, who's come on leaps and bounds. We've had Trevor contributing. We've had Chris Whiteman contributing. We've had Jack Hesson. We've also had in and out Luke Turton, who's our Nottingham Forest spokesman. We've had so many people contributing to our coverage this season, but what a way, and how fitting it is on Russ Burnham's 200th appearance on the TC Hub in any capacity that an English team would win it. And I think he's a very lucky charm, our Russ, because on Wednesday he described West Ham winning the Europa Conference League, their first trophy since 1980, and tonight Manchester City won their first European prize for 53 years. The last time they won a European trophy, it was the Cup Winners' Cup back in 1970, which was overshadowed by the FA Cup final in those days between Chelsea and Leeds United, incidentally, at Old Trafford. They're not going to be overshadowed tonight here in the European Cup final. Ilkay Gundogan, if that is his last act as captain to lift the European Cup, what a way to go out. What a way to go out. It's just been absolutely superb. He's just having an interview there for television. He's just, he's beside himself. He would put in a magnificent man of the match performance in the FA Cup final a week ago. But a week on, this was a different sort of Manchester City performance. It was a performance of character. It was a performance of doggedness. It was a performance of spirit. And a team that admittedly has 150 fair play charges hanging over its head, whether they'll be guilty or not, that won't taint what's just been achieved here tonight, because even though this team has been expensively assembled, they have produced a dogged, determined performance. A lot of people question that. Well, Manchester City have answered it, and have answered it in the best possible way. A big well done to Manchester City, who join the list of British teams, which reads like this: Celtic, Manchester United, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, believe it or not, Aston Villa, Chelsea. That's the list. That I'm sure I've not missed anyone else out, but Manchester City joined that illustrious band of British clubs to have won the European Cup in its many guises. They will celebrate long into the night, and they'll celebrate for days on end. There'll be a civic reception in Manchester for sure. Manchester claim all the silverware, the big silverware. The League Cup went to Manchester United, but the bigger prizes, the FA Cup, the Premier League Championship, and the European Cup all belong to the blue half of Manchester. 25 years ago almost, since that fateful match at Wembley against Gillingham in League One, when they needed to win that playoff to just get out of League One. That was the start of something spectacular. Then the Sheikhs took over, and they spent 14 years. Sheikh Mansour, he was there tonight, incidentally, as they go and celebrate in front of their supporters. There's Sheikh Mansour, there's Pep Guardiola. They know they've been involved in something very, very special tonight. Well, that brings us to the end of our coverage of club football this season. I hope you very much enjoyed what we've brought you for the last sort of 11 months of the season. That included the World Cup. It's been a very long, truncated season, but it ends in triumph for Manchester City. The treble winners have done it. My big thanks to Mike Harneman. My big thanks as well to Russ Vernon, who is the glue of the TCM, as I keep saying. He puts it all together. He's not just a commentator. He's not just a presenter. He's not just a pundit either. He does the lot. He's one of the hardest working men. And to say I gave him a chance 6 years ago when I was doing what he was doing on my channel, and I tell you what, he has moved on leaps and bounds, and he's took his chance. He formed this brilliant commentary hub 2 years ago. He is one of the hardest working men now in YouTube. And here is a reward for him as a commentator to describe such a performance, such a moment for Manchester City. And on his first European Cup final, I had a chance 12 months ago with Liverpool to describe a 6th European Cup. That never happened because Real Madrid beat them to it. I think I was a jinx on the English teams last season. We've swapped round. He did the worst of the European Cup, the FA Cup final last season. I did the European Cup final. We swapped round, and I think it's safe to say I think we should keep that order, because if the English team get to a final, we have to have Russ doing the commentary. He's brought luck to West Ham already this week. Now you can add Manchester City to the list as we leave you here in Istanbul. Manchester City 1, Internazionale 0. Manchester City for the first time ever win the European Cup. From myself, Russ, and Mike Harneman, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget, we've got Soccer Aid coming up as well. England against the rest of the world. That's coming up this weekend. And then on Monday, we'll be delving into another sport, athletics, and my commentary highlights of all the races that mattered from the Diamond League meeting in Paris last evening, including Keely Hodgkinson and Dina Asher-Smith. But tonight, it's all about Manchester City. They're the treble winners. From myself, Russ, and Mike, thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for all your support over the last 11 months. We'll be all back in August to do it all over again. We'll be back with the Community Shield. We'll be back with the EFL again and the Premier League. We'll be back to do it all over again, I'm sure. But for now, have a magnificent summer. Enjoy yourselves. And we leave you now with the news that Manchester City have won the European Cup. They've won it by 1-0 from us all in Istanbul on the commentary hub. It's a very good night to you all. Good night.